And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Smith. Step forward.
60-year-old singer Myrna Smith is suing her daughter-in-law, 33-year-old computer specialist Candy Smith, for an unpaid loan to hire an attorney.
Mrs. Smith, the defendant is your daughter-in-law.
Yes, she is.
According to your complaint, there came a time when your daughter-in-law needed some money. She needed some money for an attorney because she was going to be involved in a custody dispute with her former husband. You have 2 children from your prior
Correct.
marriage, and you loaned her the money.
Yes.
$5,000. And it is your claim that she has not repaid you.
She has not repaid.
And your daughter-in-law believes that she has the right to offset that money, and she's going to explain that to me. When did you make this loan?
I made the loan May 1st, 2000.
Do you have the canceled check?
Yes.
Can I see it, please?
And this is also my statement.
Okay, what was your agreement with regard to repaying this loan?
She told me what she would do would, on her pay days, she would deposit money into my account. However, that did not happen, so finally I went through my son and I asked when she would start making the repayments, and she decided that she would make the payments, but she wanted to put them into my savings account instead of my checking account, and I felt she had no right to know what was in my savings account. And she was very inquisitive about my money and how it was spent.
Okay, and as of today's date, you have received no money from this
No.
$5,000. And you acknowledge that, but for your defense, you did not repay this money out of paychecks or anything else.
No.
Okay, now I'll hear your defense.
Actually, what happened was that at this time, when we had moved into the house, she had given
What
me...
house?
We had purchased a house together. She had actually sold her previous residence, and she had used the down payment to purchase a house so that we all can live together, and we were sort of helping each other out.
And help yourselves as well.
Right, and help
All right, so
ourselves.
what was the arrangement? She put the down payment on this new house.
Correct.
How much was the down payment on the new house?
$100,000.
She put down the $100,000 on a house that you were all living in together.
Correct, it was under my husband's name.
Was there a mortgage on this house?
Yes, there was.
How much was the mortgage?
$185,000.
And I gather from your papers that you and your husband make the mortgage payments.
Correct.
How much were the mortgage payments?
$1,703.
$1,703. And how many people from your family, you and your husband, you have a child together?
Yes, we have 1 child together and 2 children from my previous marriage.
So there are 5 of you all together.
Correct.
And how many people, other than your mother-in-law, were living in the house?
The grandmother and also the uncle.
Grandmother or uncle paying any money towards the house?
He needs to answer. I can't answer.
Step up. Mr. Smith, how much money was your uncle paying to the house?
My uncle was scheduled to pay $400 a month, but unfortunately that rarely happened.
What about your grandmother?
No, nothing.
Okay. How many months did you live in the house?
If include January, 8 months.
How many mortgage payments did you make? Because that's your defense to this action. How many mortgage payments did you personally make?
Roughly 8 months.
You have proof of those payments?
Show her proof that you were paying mortgage.
What is that?
This
is the household account that my son and I had to make payments for anything regarding the house. This is how our bills were paid.
Can I see it? And I'll see your checks for the mortgage payments.
Unfortunately, that I do not have. I didn't know that was going to come into question.
You have a bill, though, right?
I have a bill.
No, I don't need a bill. I need the mortgage payments. Your defense, Mrs. Smith,
Right.
is that it wasn't working out and the house was going to be sold, wasn't working out with all you folks living together, and your mother-in-law insisted that the deed be turned back to her. Mm-hmm. It was, and you believe that you can set off the number of mortgage payments that you made on the house against the $5,000 that you owe her. That's your defense.
No,
in a
not
nutshell.
exactly. Not
Well,
exactly. I'm sorry. Can I clear this up? Okay, my defense is that because of some illegal activities that took place, we had no other choice but to move.
No.
Yes.
I don't want to hear that.
Yes, we had to move out of the house within 2 weeks. We had told her we were selling the house because of what was going on. With the money that we had, we had to actually use a lot of money to leave the house when we shouldn't have had to leave the house.
Is that your defense?
We shouldn't have to have...
Just a second. Is that your defense?
Well, yes.
That because of what you perceive to be some illegal activity that was going on in the house, you chose to move, which was a very good judgment, and you believe that your mother-in-law owes you money, the money that you had to spend to find a new place.
Right. That is included with the money that we spent with the mortgage. This is all tied together.
Well, so I'm going to eliminate your first defense. Your first defense is no defense. Now let's get to the mortgage payments that you say you made. Do you have any other checks?
And the only checks that I would use for the mortgage payments was the household account.
Okay, and who put money into the household account?
It was my wife, myself, and then my mother.
And your mother?
Yes.
Well, how much money did you put into
And
the
my brother.
Just a minute. How much money, and the $400, and how much money did you put into the account every month?
$1,900 a month I put into that account.
Now, my next question to you is the house was sold.
Actually, my son went and got a $20,000 loan that I didn't know about.
Loan for what? Against the house?
Yes.
Did you get a $20,000 loan against the house?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Did you pay it back?
I didn't have an opportunity to.
No, did you pay it back?
I was paying the loan back to the people that I got the loan from.
Did you put in any money towards the down payment?
Towards the down payment, no.
So she has $100,000 in down payment.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
She has $100,000. You have Zippo. You can't offset. I mean, first of all, you can't offset it anyway, but it's not even reasonable to offset it. Because if your mother goes to sell the house now, there's a $20,000 loan that you took out that's going to be deducted from the sale price of that house. Did you consult with your mother before you took out this loan? Did she say it was okay?
I didn't need to. I didn't need her permission on that.
Well, you don't need her permission on this either. You
Well,
owe her $5,000. That's what you owe her. That's what you borrow. That's what you repay. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may stay. This is case number 286 on the calendar in the matter of Wrightham versus Wood. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Bird, I want you to trust me on this one.
I trust you all the time.
You're going to love this case. It seems that the plaintiff, and I'm just summarizing the facts as I understand them from the complaint, you went over to visit a friend.
Yes, ma'am.
This friend lives in a complex that is managed by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's the friend?
Laura Rick.
She lives in the complex, or did?
I did.
And your car was there?
Yes.
In the parking lot of the complex?
Yes.
And for some reason or another, you got really loaded.
Yes, ma'am.
And about what time was it that you arrived at her apartment and got really loaded?
It was approximately 6:45 in the morning. I had just gotten off work.
And you came to her apartment and started to drink?
Yes, ma'am.
And for how long did you drink?
I can't say for sure. It was a matter of 2 hours.
Long time. And then, I gather, according to what I've read in your complaint, you blacked out.
Yes.
But it appears that while you were in this self-induced stupor, you shedded some of your clothes?
Yes, ma'am.
All of your clothes?
I was naked from the waist down.
And you proceeded to go into somebody else's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. So far, we following each other?
Right, which?
The other person whose apartment you went into wasn't home at the time, but came home later? You don't know?
I don't know that.
But that's what it appears. Came home and found you butt naked in his apartment, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was some major scuffle, because we're not exactly playing Goldilocks and the Three Bears here. So they roughed you up a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
And the police were called.
I do have pictures of what was happened to me.
Oh, I'd like to see them.
And I also have pictures of the vehicle.
Shh, don't tell me vehicle. I'm not at the vehicle yet, which forms the basis of this complaint, sir.
Damn.
Okay. So when these folks came home and found you doing what you were doing in their apartment, but naked, they beat you up.
Yes.
Police were called, and you were taken to jail
Yes, ma'am.
at that point for breaking and entering into their apartment.
Yes.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yes, ma'am.
The thrust of your lawsuit against the defendant is, after the police came and hauled your hopefully then clothed body to the precinct, she had your car towed.
Yes, ma'am.
And it cost you $165 to get your car out of the impound.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're suing her for.
Yes.
I told you you'd love it. I want you to give me the theory of your case, sir.
Your Honor, the way I'm seeing it is the fact that there was damage done to my vehicle, having it towed. I did screw up. I'm not going to deny that. When I was found in the apartment, I was completely unconscious. And from what the police were told, I was being restrained until they got there. And if you look at those pictures, you can see that's not how you restrain an unconscious person.
I don't know if you were unconscious or not, sir. You're shaking your head. Were you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you the owner of that premises?
I was the owner of the apartment he went into.
Why
yeah.
don't you step up, sir? What is your name?
Richard Holler.
Mr. Holler, what time had you arrived home that morning?
I arrived home, probably around 12:30, I think it was.
When you went to open your door, had it been jiggled, or was there some evidence
No,
of
my
breaking?
door was left open a little ways. I was at a friend's house helping him out, and I was on the way home, and I had received a phone call from my daughter, Jamie.
Did she
I
go
got-
to the apartment first?
All three of my daughters were in the apartment, yes.
Step up, Jamie. Tell me what happened, Jamie.
I was inside my bedroom, and me and my sisters were talking, and I heard the door open and shut.
The front
So-
door to the
yeah.
apartment.
And I went to go see if my dad came in, and then I saw him in the living room,
This person.
and he then took off his pants, and
He took off his pants in your apartment?
yeah,
He was standing up.
yes ma'am.
Did he say anything?
No,
Were you frightened?
I was scared at the time.
Had you ever seen him before, Jamie?
No, ma'am.
So you see a stranger coming into your apartment early in the morning? At what time did he come into the apartment?
Around 11 o'clock.
Walk into your apartment, take a look at you, and then drop his pants. Is that what happened?
Yes ma'am.
What happened next?
Then I turned around and got my sisters to jump out of the window, and we went to a neighbor's house, and then I called my dad.
From the neighbor's house?
Yeah.
And you stayed there?
Yes.
When you jumped out of the window, do you live on the first floor, I hope?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody was hurt.
No, ma'am.
Sit down, Jamie. Okay, so tell me what happened when you came home, sir.
So she called me when she got to the neighbor's house and told me that a guy had came into our apartment and started disrobing. And I asked her where she was at, and she told me right away that her and her sisters were okay, that they were at the neighbor's house. So I got home and I went into the apartment complex, and I seen that my door was open a little ways. And I opened it up a little bit, and from opening it up, you can kind of see our couch. I could see somebody on our couch. So I shut the door and walked down to the caretaker lad's house and asked him to call the police. And I went back to the apartment and went back in and confronted him.
What did you say to him?
He was laying on our couch completely naked except for a t-shirt. Basically told him to get up, and he sat up and asked him to get out, and then there was a little bit of a scuffle, and I basically detained him in the hallway until the cops got there.
Now, when you say you detained him in the hallway, how did he get to the hallway?
Walked. Kind of wrestled around a little bit to the hallway.
But he was on his own feet?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and the police arrived.
Yes, they did, ma'am.
What were you charged with, sir?
I was charged with disorderly conduct.
You're pretty lucky.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Rytan says his car was impounded while visiting his ex-girlfriend's apartment. The apartment manager, Nancy Wood, says a drunken William walked into another tenant's apartment.
Okay, Miss Wood, what was he charged with? Miss Wood?
Originally, he was charged with fourth-degree burglary and indecent exposure.
And he pled guilty to something. What did you plead guilty to?
Actually, before I even had to plead guilty, there was a second amendment, I believe it was. My mother has been around for this whole thing, and she's also witnessed me get myself into a treatment program the following day.
I didn't ask you that question,
And-
sir. I asked you, what did you ultimately plead guilty to?
I plead guilty to disorderly conduct.
Right, but that's not what you were charged with.
That's not what the ticket was wrote for. I never pleaded guilty to anything until they gave me disorderly conduct.
So you waited until you got an appropriate plea bargain. Breaking into somebody's apartment and taking your clothes off is exactly what you were charged with initially. Okay. Miss Wood, were you advised by the caretaker that he'd been taken to jail?
That afternoon, I was coming back to work from lunch, and I noticed a squad car sitting in the parking lot with a man in the back seat. The caretaker, Lad Hurrite, had approached me and said there was a problem while I was gone, and basically told me that the plaintiff here had gone into another apartment and exposed himself.
So you had his car towed?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. That's what I would have done, right?
That sounds right to me.
Sounds right to me, too. You didn't get a bill from this family for cleaning their sofa, did you?
No, ma'am.
It's the first thing I would have done. Had my sofa professionally cleaned and sent you the bill. I mean, don't you feel foolish?
Honestly, I do feel foolish for my actions.
Yeah, of course.
But like I said, I did take quite the beating, and there's no way I walked anywhere. The police couldn't even pick me up and get me to walk on my own. I was literally dragged outside.
Let me explain something to you, sir. If my husband ever came home and our young daughters were in an apartment where some guy had broken in, stripped down naked, and came home and found this naked, what in his mind is a pervert, who forced his daughters to jump out of a window because they don't know what you're going to do, this would have looked like a Picasso. I wouldn't complain if I were you. You're still here. Now, even Officer Byrd is a very caring, conservative kind of guy. But he has little children. And I wouldn't even ask him what he would do if he found some guy had come into his home when he wasn't there and frightened his children as a result of self-induced intoxication by disrobing, something that his children would never forget. You wouldn't like to venture what you might do to that person.
Oh, he don't want to know.
So I would suggest that you take this, sir, as a really good lesson. And don't sue anybody. You're just lucky they didn't sue you for emotional distress caused to those young girls when they walked out into their living room and found you standing there and you took a look at them and dropped your pants. You're lucky they didn't sue you. That would be the case that I would like to have.
Yet,
What?
He's not paying for the counselor bills either for it.
That would be an interesting lawsuit, sir. But this one is a no-brainer. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I honestly did learn from my actions and have been getting treatment for my alcohol problem.
I was frightened when I first saw him.
Very proud of his actions now, and he has entered a full-bore treatment program, and he's doing well.
I'm proud of Jamie for what she did and got her sisters out of there as soon as possible.
I screwed up and got to pay the consequence from it.
Be responsible for your actions.
And now the next case.
All parties on Moeller versus Stevens. Step forward, please.
Commercial pilot Doug Moeller is suing his neighbors, Roger and Jackie Stevens, and their son, 17-year-old Brian. Doug says Brian purposefully damaged his daughter's bicycle. The Stevens are countersuing for the cost of a bike and damage to their screen door.
Mr. Moeller, it is your claim that the defendant's son damaged your daughter's bike.
That's correct.
The defendant says that he caused no damage to the bike, and they are counterclaiming because they say that their daughter's bike was stolen from your backyard and it's your fault. B, that your son tore a hole in their screen door. You weren't there during this bike incident?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
I'd like you to sit down.
Okay.
And your children up here. Now, you weren't present either, is that right?
Correct.
So you can sit down, leaving the alleged perpetrator standing. When did this happen?
Around midsummer last year.
Tell me about the day.
We went over to see my cousin that we always play with.
You have to speak up because I can't hear you. Tell me your first name.
Timothy Moeller.
All right, Timothy, keep your voice up. You hear the way I'm talking?
Yeah.
Try to do it.
Okay.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
Brian started jumping up and down on the bike.
That's Brian.
Yeah.
What were you doing on the bike?
I was sitting on it. I've never seen a bike like that before, so I was testing out the shocks.
testing out the shocks.
Right.
And how, Brian, were you testing out the shocks?
I bounced up and down on the seat a couple times and lifted the front tire off the ground about 2 inches and then let it go.
It was a girl's bike, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
It was a boy's bike.
Yeah,
Big or little?
it was big. It was a 20-inch.
Your Honor, could I give you a photograph of the bicycle as
Yes,
evidence?
I'd like to see it.
This is a photograph of the bicycle with the bicycle license, and it shows that these are actually children's bicycles. Quite a bit smaller than an adult would be riding.
Mm-hmm. Small?
I didn't think it was.
Small?
Okay.
Okay. Who told you you could get on the bike?
Nobody.
Can I see the wheel, please? How old are you?
17. I
So
was
get a
16
job
at
and
the
pay for the wheel. Wheel's all bent. Wheel's all bent. Would you step up, sir? Okay. We'll make very quick work of this part of the case. Your son got on a bike without permission, tested out the springs, didn't ride it the way it was supposed to be ridden, and they say as a result of that the wheel was broken. So?
Well, according to my witness, my daughter and my son, when he got off, it was still on the kickstand. She got back on it. She rode home on it. We felt that if he had done it, she would have went home. If she'd have done it right then, she'd have went home and told her father, hey, Brian just damaged my bike. But the story that we got is that the next day or so, he noticed the damage, came to the children and said, what happened to your bike? We're not sure. We think maybe when Brian was on it, you know, and so we just don't feel that he did it. It may have happened later. And,
Well, what you feel is irrelevant.
Okay.
Relevant facts are he got on a bike without permission. He was testing the shocks.
Okay.
He's a big boy. He jumped up and down. I mean, at least he's telling the truth. Now, when you went to ride the bike home, did you see anything different in riding the bike?
The bicycle wheel was rubbing up against the side of the bike.
And did you feel that before he had gotten on the bike to test it?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay, so now I need the bill. I mean, it's not malicious, it's not terrible, but you pay the bill. $106, is that what it cost?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now, let's get, what?
Your Honor, could I speak for just a second, please?
Sure.
What we've heard here is in a large part a fabrication. In fact, I'd like to call Michelle Stevens as a witness, if I could, please.
Just a second, sir, you just won your case. Why do you have to call
Well,
anything?
I know, but there's a little bit more than $106 involved here.
What?
It cost me $27 to file this in small claims court in Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And there was more damage to it than just the wheel. The handlebar extensions were damaged, the pedals were damaged, the bicycle seat was torn up.
I asked for the bill to fix it.
Yeah, you got the bill.
You
That's
got
correct.
the bill,
Yes, ma'am.
$106.40.
That's correct.
That's the bill that you gave me.
That's correct.
So?
Well, I guess that's the end of the story then.
That's the end of the story.
All right.
You just
Okay.
won. Sit.
Very good.
This is not a major toxic waste pollution case.
I understand.
A bent bicycle wheel. All right, let me get to the bottom line of your case, which I've read. Let me see if I understand it. Your daughter was playing over at their house. The plaintiff wants to go someplace. And according to you, he said to the kids, why don't you just put the bikes in the backyard? The daughter put her bike in their backyard. The bike was stolen. And based on that, you believe it's his fault.
His responsibility.
No, that's wrong. How old is your daughter?
13.
So she had the capacity to say, I'm going to go put my bike in my garage?
Which she did. And he said, no, just put it in our backyard. We won't be gone very long. And both of the girls' bicycles got stolen.
You want to go further and tell me about this torn screen?
This is just
When did that
what I
happen?
get from the kids. This was last summer.
Did you tear the screen in Mr. Stevens' house?
No, ma'am.
You have a witness with regard to the torn screen?
Yes. My
I'll
son.
hear you, Brian.
I was inside the house, and these two kids and my sister were inside, and I was trying to watch TV, and they were being loud, so they went outside. I locked the door, so they were locked out. I heard a noise at my window, and I opened the curtain, and Timothy was there with a stick poking a hole through it.
Did you poke a hole through the screen? Did you replace the screen?
No, but I have an estimate to have it replaced.
You went through a whole summer with a screen with a hole in it from a stick?
Yes, ma'am.
Get a patch. I can understand why you're aggravated, but it's unfortunate that people who had a rather pleasant relationship have any tension because of this. That's your fault. They're all a lot younger than you are. So the first thing that happened was you locked your sister and her two friends out of the house because you wanted to watch television in peace. Is that what happened with the screen? Stupid. Then you got on a bike, jumped up and down on the bike, not your bike, and bent the wheel. Also stupid. As a result of that, two families, which had, I assume, gotten along reasonably well together if you let your daughter go with the plaintiff before, have any kind of friction now. Very, very stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $133. The counterclaims dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 256 on the calendar in the matter of Lemke versus Mungo. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Ms. Lemke, the defendant was a former boyfriend of yours. According to your complaint, he owes you for three things. He owes you for money that you loaned to him at one point when he was facing incarceration. He owes you for the value of a car, which you say you purchased, although it was in his name, it was supposed to be your car, and that he owes you for damages as a result of an assault that took place over a year ago. Is that right?
That's correct.
I assume that the loan that kept him out of jail was the first money that you're suing for. Is that right?
Yes.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding that loan.
John was, faced going to jail for child support arrearages. And the day that he was to appear in court, we took the bus up together. And then I overheard his, discussion with the DA and that he needed $750 to take him, him out of jail. And we agreed that I would, loan him the money and that he would repay me when he was able to.
Well, how did that come about? What did you say to him and what did he say to you?
Well, what I said to him was that I had $750. Just don't worry about it. You can repay me, when you're able to. I have $400 cash in my wallet, and we can go down to an ATM.
Tell me about, sir, your version of the $750, which you acknowledge that the plaintiff paid in order to keep you out of jail.
The $750, Lynn had offered to give me $700.
Tell me how it came about.
Oh, that's, I was trying to do that.
No,
before we went to court, several days before she...
Look at me.
Yes, ma'am. She volunteered, said, I could give you some money to stay out. And I said, absolutely not. I don't want to do it because I would feel obligated. So a few days went by, and I was supposed to turn myself in. So we went, and then when we got into out in the hallway, the public defender said, well, do you have the money? I said, no, I don't. Lynn says, I have it. And he said, well, are you going to use it? I said, absolutely not. I don't want to because I feel like I'm obligated. I cannot pay her back. And then she said, he said, well, do it. I said, no. So he left. And then he came back again and said, why don't you do it? And I said, well, and we thought about it. And I said, he convinced me to do it. I paid it, and then we went home, and that was it.
So it's not your fault and it's not her fault, it's the public defender's fault.
No, she offered this money to me in front of Mr. Coleman here.
Just a second, but you said
yes.
that you declined to take it.
Yes, I did.
Because you would have felt obligated to repay it.
Yes.
And then you said that the district attorney or the public defender forced you to do it.
He did not force me. He coerced me into it.
He coaxed you to do it. And you did it.
Yes.
And I assume, therefore, that your initial reason for not wanting to take the money in the first place still held true, that you would have felt obligated to repay it. That's what you just told me.
That's correct.
So you took the money, and I assume you still felt obligated to repay it.
I did?
Well, then I'm asking you that. What happened, sir, between the time you walked into the courthouse, when you would have felt obligated to repay the money if the plaintiff gave you the money, and the time you actually took the money?
She told me it was a gift, and I would not have to pay her.
That is...
Absolutely.
No.
Well, Mr. Coleman
she
here heard her say it in his house.
Just a second, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
She never used the words gift. This is a gift that I'm making to you,
yes,
John.
Yes, she did.
No. She never did.
Well, that's not what she's telling you.
That's not what I believe.
Oh.
I wouldn't believe it if you told me, because I don't know if I'd believe anything you told me. I certainly wouldn't believe it if he told to me. I'm telling you, she didn't give you the money. She may have said to you, I want you to take it, and you can pay me back when you can.
Yes.
That she might have said. All right, let's move on to number two. Let's move on to car. How much did you purchase this car for?
$625.
$625. So it wasn't a Jaguar?
No.
And it wasn't a brand new car?
Absolutely not.
And you had no driver's license?
That's correct.
So you purchased the car and you put the car in his name?
Not at the time of purchase, but yes, eventually.
When did you purchase the car?
June 29th.
What were you going to do with a car that you couldn't drive?
Well, I had wanted a car for a long time, as
just to look at
friends had known. Of course not.
Well, what were you going to do with it?
Have other people drive it for me so that I could get around until I have a driver's license.
So you must have discussed with him driving you around.
No, not necessarily Mr. Mungo. My roommate, John Coleman.
How?
And no decision had been made whether it even be either one of these persons, people.
Whatever. You put the car ultimately in his name. Tell me when.
It was in July.
So you went down to Motor Vehicles and put the car, after you had had it for some time, in the defendant's name.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Mungo, according to you, there came a time when plaintiff came to reside with you in your home. Is that right?
Yes.
When was that?
Let me see here. I have the date right here. It's on the bill of sale that we used, a copy of the bill of sale that we used for the transfer of the automobile, which was dated 7/18/2000.
That's when she came to live with you?
Yes, came to stay with me.
How long did she stay with you?
2 months and 5 days.
And according to you, Mr. Mungo, your arrangement was that she could live with you rent-free and give you the car.
Correct.
Miss Lemke, did you pay any rent? Miss Lemke, pay attention.
No, I did not, and I do not remember that document at all.
Look at me. Could you look at me?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
And was it about the time you went to live with him because you had problems with your old roommate? That's why you moved out.
He locked me out of the house,
Your old roommate locked you out of the house?
Yes.
And you went to live with Mr. Mungo. And at the same time that you went to live with Mr. Mungo, was that the time you went down to Motor Vehicles and transferred the title to the car to his name? That's what he says.
No, when I went to live with Mr. Mungo, I was only going there for some place to sleep the night I was locked out.
But you stayed for 2 months.
That's correct, and I contracted bronchitis, had severe pneumonia in
all the time
August.
You were in Mr. Mungo's house?
I was, yes I was.
And you did not pay any rent?
While I was taking care of him.
Shh. You did not pay any rent?
No, but I bought food and whatever, yeah.
You did
no,
not pay
I
any
paid no rent, no.
Oh, okay. And he took care of you when you were sick?
No.
Who took care of you?
I took care of myself.
Okay. Let's get to item number 3. Tell me about this alleged assault. When did it take place?
September 11th.
What happened on September 11th?
I mentioned something about the car, the subject I would avoid because of his fiery temper whenever the subject came up. There'd been a lot of verbal abuse.
So you started to talk about the car. He didn't want to talk about the car.
He ran from the back of his house in a fiery rage and punched me as a boxer's punch right here.
Also claims John charged her in a fiery rage and punched her.
Do you have a police report?
The police said that a police report could not be issued.
Police issue a police report when there's an assault. Do you have any photographs of your injuries as a result of the assault?
Yes, I do.
Can I see them, please?
That was a couple weeks later. This is about 5 weeks later. 6, maybe.
Okay, let me hear your version of what happened on this date on September 11th.
Well, Miss Lemke is an alcoholic, and she was drinking 24/7 every day for 2 months. Her idea of being sick with
For the 2 months that she was living with you?
Yes. Her idea of being sick with bronchitis is drinking a 1.7 liter of Jack Daniels and barfing all over the place. I had my son at my house. He was, I believe, 3 years old, and she was told when he's around and you're drinking, please do not talk to him, leave him alone. We were in the bathroom, and she came in and she grabbed me by the arms. She was shaking me and screaming at me, and I could see the fillings in her teeth. And I broke loose from her, and I went outside. And before I went outside, my little boy was hitting her on the leg like this, saying, stop. He could see that there was this anger, and it was getting him upset. So we went outside, and my little boy kept trying to protect me, and then she went to grab him, and as she grabbed him, he kind of turned upside down, and she spiraled down into the brick fence, and he kind of kicked her in the face. And
oh my God, that's an outright lie.
Basically, I just was horrified. I said, "Oh, you've got to go." I didn't want her to be there anymore, and she kept wondering.
I don't know why she was there in the first place, sir.
She was there because she was so combative with John. He couldn't take He couldn't have her living at his house anymore. He locked her out.
So she had other places to go. She could rent a room someplace. Go
Yes,
to
she
Y.
could.
So why was she living with you, sir? You're telling me she's an alcoholic. You had
I wanted
your
my
3-year-old
car
son.
back.
I think
That's
she
what
was
I wanted,
crazy mad
and
in
I
love
was
with me,
sick.
to tell you the truth.
Well,
We were having a torrid love affair.
You were having a torrid love affair
At times.
with somebody who you say was a complete alcoholic? When you have a torrid love affair with someone who is blind on Jack Daniels for 2 straight months.
How?
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Not for you, maybe. Not for you, maybe. Okay. What happened as a result of this assault? Were you ever contacted by the police?
Police, well, when after this happened, I picked, my son was supposed to go home to his mother. I spent the night over there. I didn't want to come back home. And apparently the police came out, and the policeman said, I think, ma'am, you must have fallen off the porch and hurt yourself.
Don't tell me what the police said to her.
Well, he was there to hear it.
This is
Hearsay.
unbelievable.
Okay. Hearsay?
Hearsay.
Oh,
This
okay.
is
Okay. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
you're despicable.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Quite frankly, Miss Lemke, if someone had assaulted me, causing this kind of injury,
Yes.
then there would have been a police report, there would have been a police prosecution for domestic violence.
Mm-hmm. 2 weeks later, I went to court. I went to jail for domestic violence, Your Honor.
And I cannot understand, madam, why you would not follow up on this case that happened over a year ago. Why?
I've been sick for months.
Okay, you're going to get your $750 bail money back. You are not going to get your car back because I do believe Mr. Mungo, and believe me, it was a real stretch because it's hard to believe him about a lot of things. I do believe that he agreed to have you live there rent-free in exchange for this $625 car that you would put in his name anyway. As far as your request for damages with regard to the assault, I am not quite sure how this happened. And it is quite possible that you were, in fact, intoxicated at the time, and you're not sure how it happened either. So this is the judgment of the court. You keep the car, and you give her $750 for the bail money. You got me? Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Lady Smirnoff?
Well, he bought alcohol for me.
I think she's still in love with me, and she just wants to have some type of contact.
In fact, he had stated he liked me better drunk than sober because he wanted anything from me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of King, Lentz, Newell, Cloje versus Conover. Step forward, please.
College students Christina King, Erica Lentz, Anna Newell, and Kelly Kaloje are suing their former roommate, 19-year-old student Michael Conover, for breaking a lease. Michael says he never signed the lease.
All right, Miss King, you and your 3 co-plaintiffs were in college. You got an apartment, the 4 of you, and you agreed, according to you, to have the defendant as your 5th roommate. Is that right?
That's correct.
The 4 of you signed a lease? Correct. Is that right?
Yes.
The defendant did not sign the lease. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the 4 of you had agreed to share this apartment before the defendant came into the picture?
That's correct.
According to you, the defendant stayed until Thanksgiving when he unceremoniously left, leaving a mess, leaving the heat turned up, leaving beer cans all over, whatever. He left a mess. He gave you no notice. You want him to pay his share of the 5th of the rent for the entire duration of the lease, which is 1 year.
Correct.
And utility bills, etc. That's what your lawsuit is.
Yes.
The defendant says he was never on the lease and you were rude to his girlfriend. So that's why he moved out, and if you hadn't been rude, then he would have stayed. That's your defense, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did not the defendant sign the lease?
Well, upon contacting...
Fast.
Okay. We contacted him. We told him what the lease was, a year long. We told him he had to go to the office and sign the lease.
But he never did.
He never did.
What'd you let him move in for?
He told us that he would.
But he didn't.
Correct.
And he lived there the entire month of September?
Yes, paid rent, paid utilities.
Entire month of September, entire month of October, and part of November, and you never saw to it that he signed the lease?
He told us that he had taken care of it.
Did you go down and make sure that he took care of it?
Well, the complex told us within the first month, Michael needs to go down and sign the lease. Okay, he didn't sign the lease. We didn't know that. But
okay. Now, ladies, after he moved out, what did you do to try to replace him as a roommate?
We tried to, we couldn't replace him because his stuff is still in his bedroom. He's got
throw it in the garbage.
We didn't know legally if that was okay because
I'm telling you, why didn't you pick up your stuff?
I didn't have, all I had was a hatchback and another car to move my stuff. I had
Just
like
a second. Are you telling me that your stuff is still in your room?
I have my bed frame and mattresses, yes.
Oh, sir, then you have to pay rent. What is wrong with you, sir? You move out, and you have to put the apartment in a position where they can at least try to bring down their damages by trying to rent it. You're telling me that you didn't move your stuff because you have a small car?
No,
Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Well, why didn't you move your bedroom set out of there and your furniture?
I moved as much stuff as I could on the day that I moved out, but the reason I didn't get the furniture is because, like, I didn't have the vehicle to get it transported, like, to take it to my new apartment. I didn't want to come back while they were there because I didn't want there to be a confrontation. I didn't want there to be any trouble. So, like, and then I found out that they were suing me, so I definitely didn't want to go in there without anybody's permission to take the stuff. I didn't want to get any more trouble than I already
When
was.
did you ask if you could get your stuff out?
I didn't ask anybody. And I never
So
asked.
then you never asked anybody. So
No.
what you're telling me is you didn't move your stuff out when you moved out because you didn't have a big enough car.
Right.
Jerk. You moved out in November. Did you pay November's share of your rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he pay November's share of his rent?
He paid November, yet he still has an August rent that he did not pay. He had a bounce check that he tried to pay. We have.
Did he pay August rent?
No.
So he's behind 1 month.
Right.
So far.
December.
Until the time that he moved out.
Correct.
Okay. How much was his share of the rent?
$220 plus.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
$220. November you paid.
Yes.
You didn't pay December. Is that right?
No, I did not.
And your stuff is, your junk is still there.
Yeah.
Your stuff is still there. January, is that right?
Yes.
Now, let's get into February. Have you tried to look for another roommate?
Well, the way our semester system works, we feel that it's impossible now to get a lease because of the semester has already started. People have already signed leases.
We have contacted our apartment complex. They said that every now and then they'll get people who want to sublease for a semester and a summer. We've contacted them, told them if anyone gets in contact with them to let us know, but so far they've had nothing.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we physically can't move his stuff. His
Oh,
bedroom
no, no,
stuff.
I'm going to take care of that right now. Okay? Okay? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make this very, very fast. Within 3 days, sir, you are to get an appropriate van at exactly noon.
Okay.
72 hours from today, you are to be at the complex to get your furniture. If you are not there, I am going to draft an order that they can take your furniture and donate it to Salvation Army. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand? Yes. Donate it to Salvation Army, give it away, throw it out on the street, call garbage. Anything that's there after 12 o'clock, 72 hours from today, is trash. Or sell it. Sell it. Do you understand? Now, I am giving you ladies rent for the month of August, his share, the month of December. Do you understand?
Yes.
The month of January, the month of February, and the month of March. That gives you more than ample time to try to find somebody to fill in for his share of the rent. The fact that they were rude to you, sir, is meaningless to me. You had an obligation. And instead of sitting down like a human being and saying, listen, this is not working out, let's try to find a way to resolve this, you just had a party over Thanksgiving and moved out unceremoniously. That's not the way adults behave. And according to you, you moved into a new apartment, which means that you had been contemplating that for at least more than 72 hours if you found a new apartment. Are you living in the new apartment alone?
No.
Who are you living there with?
With my best friend from back home and his girlfriend.
And what about your girlfriend?
She lives in the villas a couple doors down from where I used to live with them.
Oh, okay, good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. And in addition, the court will draft the order. You have 72 hours to get out your junk. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Carlson versus Reese. Step forward, please.
31-year-old financial director Richard Carlson is suing his ex-girlfriend, Teresa Reese, for loans he made during their relationship. Teresa says she has a restraining order against Richard.
Mr. Carlson, you claim a series of loans to the defendant while you were in a relationship. Ms. Reese says that there were no loans. Tell me about when these loans started and why, sir.
Yeah, they basically started on March 1st of 2001. A series of loans were made for various amounts, including rent, and her and I were on a furniture note, but I do not have the furniture. She she has her furniture. Totals up to $1,905.
So tell me why you started to give her money for rent.
She was in an accident. She was not able to work, and she was struggling with her bills.
How did you meet her?
I met her at a local bar.
Did you ever live with her?
No.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in my own place.
And so how much did you give her?
On March 1st, I gave her $300.
When did she agree to pay you back?
She was to get a settlement. She never came through. Then, conveniently, she filed a restraining order against me once I heard that she did get her settlement.
Well, she filed a restraining order against you, I assume, because you were contacting her.
That is correct.
Or in March, we have $300 that you gave her. When did you give her the next amount of money?
I gave her, on the 15th of March, I gave her $225.
And again, you weren't living with her at the time?
No, I was not.
That's not true.
Just a second, we'll get to you in a minute. When next did you give her money?
I gave her 8 days later on the 23rd. I gave her $75.
What?
She needed groceries.
When next?
And then on the 17th of April, $165 I paid for her furniture note.
Her furniture
note.
Yes.
Just a second. Her furniture note.
Yes.
When did she purchase furniture?
She purchased it in October of 2001.
Did you go with her to buy the furniture?
Yes, I did.
Were you planning on moving in at the time?
Not at all.
We were living together at the time.
I'm going to get to you in a minute, Miss Reese. How much was the total amount of the furniture?
I believe that the payments were $165 a month, and I believe it was right around $1,900 was the loan.
Approximately $2,300.
$2,300.
So what you're saying is, aside from these amounts of money, $300, $225, $75, $165, the other amounts of money for furniture, with furniture that was on your credit card?
No, it wasn't.
It was financed.
Who financed it?
They're a local furniture company, and I have the agreement right here, which our name is on it with both. We're under the same address, and he's signed on to this,
Can I see
Your
it,
Honor.
please?
And he's given me a lot more than...
Both names on it?
Yes.
And one address?
Exactly.
Is that right, sir?
That is correct, yeah. If I can add to it, you know, I never once was on her lease.
Hey, she don't have to be on her lease to live with her.
Exactly, and that is my
Miss
point.
Reese, be quiet. You don't have to be on her lease to live with her, Mr. Carlson. Let's understand that.
I understand.
Okay. What was the address of the place that you claim you were living and paying rent on during this time?
My home address, 8529.
And who do you live with there?
I'm staying with my mom.
So it's your mother's home.
Yes.
So, Mr. Carlson, it would be fair to say, sir, that most of the time you were staying with the defendant.
Yeah, maybe 2 days a week.
Maybe 3 sometimes?
Yeah.
Sometimes did you actually spend 4 days a week there?
Sure.
Mr. Carlson, I'm not a stupid lady. So he was living with you.
Yes, he was. And
Okay, I believe that, Miss Reese.
Okay.
I believe that there came a time when he moved in with you. His clothes were there, his shoes were there, his underwear was there, his shaving equipment was there, you know, all the stuff that he needed.
The reason why he was staying with me was because we were in an accident that he was driving. It wasn't his fault. But I had a sprain to the third lumbar in my neck, and so I was only able to work part-time, and I was in a lot of discomfort, and I needed somebody there with me. He was kind enough. He stayed with me. We were in a relationship, and we were caring about each other and everything. And we were engaged to be married until we went to the jewelry store to buy a ring on a credit card that only had a $250 limit.
So?
I was under the impression that he was this very wealthy guy, and he was very flashy with a lot of money.
And then he could only buy you a $250 engagement ring.
No, that was the limit on it. We were looking at a $5,000 ring.
I mean, that's why you got rid of him, because he couldn't buy you a nice engagement ring?
Well, it just started out like I would go pick him up from work, and he wasn't there, and he'd be gone for 2 or 3 days. And so I was telling him that, you know, you can do what you want because I can't control anyone. But, you know, the relationship on an intimacy level kind of ended there. So that's like probably 2-3 months into the relationship, the intimacy part was gone, and I still cared about him, but just not to that degree because I can't control him over myself.
You still have this furniture?
Yes.
Is it all paid for?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson, I don't think you have much of a case, sir.
What about all this money I've given her? I mean, you know.
Yeah, you were staying there, and if you paid for the joint living expenses and you paid part of her rent.
For 2 days?
No, sir.
A week?
So, 2 days a
How
week,
does that
sometimes
constitute
3
for a
days a
full
week,
month of
sometimes
rent?
4 days a week. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to go week by week and figure out whether you were living there 2 days a week, 3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week, sometimes on the weekends. I don't think that that's what this was about. I think that you gave her money because she needed it at the time.
Your Honor, may I...
And you were living there. And you were involved in an intimate relationship with her.
The thing of it is, with this money that was given to her, it was all verbally agreed. Hey, I'm getting a settlement. I'm getting a settlement in October, and I will pay you a lump sum of money once I get my settlement from the accident.
Did you reduce that to writing?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because, like I said, we were close friends. I took her word.
Close friends is not what you were.
I just don't know anyone else that would do this to me. You know, if you weren't a friend.
No, if you were a friend, you might not put it in writing. But also, if you were not intimate with each other and planning on a future together, you wouldn't put it in writing because you were helping her out, and the anticipation was that you were going to be married and that she would get her settlement and be able to start contributing to the household that you were setting up. Did you write on any of those checks loan?
No, I did not.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. John, this is case number.
I'm going to keep fighting it. And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bell versus Clark. Step forward, please.
53-year-old William Bell is suing his girlfriend's former friend, 42-year-old secretary Elizabeth Clark, for having him falsely arrested. Elizabeth says William threatened to kill her. She is countersuing for harassment.
Mr. Bell, you are suing the defendant for having you falsely arrested on charges of threatening and harassing her. She is counterclaiming for harassment. Let me understand the relationship. You have a girlfriend or had a girlfriend. The defendant is a friend of your former girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
You were having some difficulty with the girlfriend. You called the defendant to sort of act as an intermediary and to talk to her and see if you could put things back together again. The defendant then called the police and said that you had threatened her. You were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you call her?
February 17th of 2001.
Had you ever called her before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And tell me about the conversation that you had with her.
I didn't have a conversation with her. I got her voicemail.
Okay.
And I left a message who it was, and I was staying at Baymont Inn Motel. Could you please give me a call?
Why were you staying at a motel?
I had moved out of my girlfriend's house.
So you and your girlfriend had lived together and
Yes,
had
we're
a problem?
together now. Yes,
you are back together
yes,
now?
we've been together, yes.
So you went out and stayed at a motel?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you left a voice message, and I assume she called you back.
She called me back, ma'am, approximately 4:30, 5 o'clock that evening.
What was the conversation?
Her first question was, when I answered the phone, is this Bill Bell? And I said, yes. She says, William Bell. And I said, yes, it is. Then she started getting very belligerent.
Don't tell me belligerent. That's a conclusion, Mr. Bell.
Okay.
Tell me what she said to you.
She was cursing at me for calling
Tell
her.
me what she said. I'm a big girl. I'm over 21. I know that's hard to believe, but I am.
You want...
I want the words she said to you, that you claim she said to you.
She called me I don't want to say it on the mother. A son
Yes.
of that I was going to get her fired from her job for calling her work.
When did you call her work?
I found out later that the number I called, which was her home phone number, is a work number at her home.
Okay, so first she cursed you, you say, because she called her at her work number. And then what did she say to you?
She told me that she was going to get even with me for calling her. And I apologized for calling and leaving a message on her phone.
Well, what message did you leave on her phone?
Just my name and the phone number where I was at.
Okay.
And I told her I was going to hang up. And she says, if you hang up, you're going to pay for it big time. And I went ahead and hung up anyway because I'd already apologized and she was still cursing me.
And when were you arrested, sir?
A while later that they had a warrant out for my arrest. And I talked to the police officer who had called the motel to get a hold of me and left a message.
No, look at me. Stop playing with your papers.
I called the officer back and he told me there was a warrant and I went down. I believe it was in April. I went down and I turned myself in.
You didn't find out about this warrant until April?
No, ma'am.
What happened to the charges?
Well, the charges were dropped the 2nd of October because the defendant never showed up for court.
Okay. And do you have a copy of the complaint?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see that. And, Ms. Clark, I would like to see a copy of the police report that you made at the same time.
Okay. And he called me more than one time.
Wait. I'm going to get to you, I promise you. When did you advise the police of these phone calls, Ms.
It
Clark?
was probably the middle of February.
Okay, just 1 second.
Okay.
So you did not call the police the day that he made the phone calls, the day that you had
Yes,
the
I did.
conversation? Oh, you
Yes, I
did?
did.
So
I
you
did.
called the police the same day. All right.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Clark, I would like you to tell me, he left a message on your voicemail to call him. The message that he left on your voicemail was not threatening to you.
No, it's when I talked to him.
So I am correct. It was not threatening to you, and you knew who he was because...
This is the first time I've ever seen this man.
But you knew who he was because of your girlfriend.
Right, right.
That's what, just pay attention.
Okay, sorry.
Now, I want you to tell me your version of the conversation.
Okay, I work 2 jobs. I also work at a golf course.
Is this relevant to my question?
Yes, it is. He went in to my employer, who I have a letter from, was asking for my address and my phone number. Since then, I don't even know this man. He's taken me to court and put...
I want you, Miss Clark, to answer my question.
Okay.
My question is, I want you to tell me what the phone conversation was when you returned his phone call.
He wanted me to get his girlfriend...
Tell me what he said.
He wanted to know if I would call Lou and get them back together, reconcile their differences.
And what did you say to him?
No.
Did you tell him why?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say? Tell me what you said.
I said, because I think that what you did was wrong, and I think she's better off without you.
And what did he say in response?
And then he got aggravated.
That's a conclusion.
Okay.
What did he say?
He said, well, that doesn't help me out a bit. And I really don't recall the rest of the conversation. It was a long time ago.
Well, you have to tell me the rest of the conversation. That's the basis of...
Just more or less said that he wanted me to call Lou, and he said, you're the only one she'll listen to, and you need to get this situation taken care of for me, or else.
At that point, did you hang up on him?
I don't recall.
Or did you have any further conversation?
He called so many times on my caller ID, it was...
Okay. Now, did you ever speak to him after that?
No.
You never spoke to him after that?
Nope.
And the conversation that you just relayed to me is, to the best of your recollection, the sum and substance of the conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
Then, Ms. Clark, I'm going to ask you the following questions.
Okay.
It's clear to me that you said, I'm not going to help you. He said, that doesn't help me any. You better help me or else. Those were pretty much his exact words, as you remember?
Yeah.
Then can you tell me why you told the police that he said to you, I will get you, I will kill you, just a second.
I'm sorry.
I will get you, I will kill you, and then I will kill myself.
That is true.
Well, Ms. Clark, I asked you 3 times.
I know, I'm sorry.
3 times what he said to you. Now, you got the police's attention, certainly, when you told the police, he said, I'll get you, and then I'll kill myself, and I'll kill Lou, and I'll kill everybody. It seems to me that that would be the first thing that you would say. Not forget it, but that would be the first thing. I will kill you is something that you remember, not I'll get even or you'll get yours, or I will kill you is something that sticks in your mind. In order to get to the police's attention, they say, well, that's really not a threat. You'll get yours is not a threat. I'll kill you is a threat that the police pay attention to.
I will get you.
I will get you is one thing. But I seriously doubt, based upon our testimony today, that he said to you, I will get you, which you didn't tell me. I will kill you. I will kill Lou, and then I will kill myself. Kill. That you remember, and that the police might respond to, but not, you'll get yours. Okay, now let's go back a second. You started to tell me that he's taken you to court 3 times.
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell me about the 3 occasions when he's taken you to court.
Okay, he has put 2 restraining orders against me. The first time that I went to court is when I pressed the charges against him. He didn't show up. So
when
that's
was
3
the first
times.
time that he pressed charges against you?
April.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he hadn't shown up twice for court, it was dismissed with prejudice on August 16th.
So in April, he filed a charge against you for something. For what, Mr. Bell? For what?
After this deal
After
in
the
February,
warrant.
I had all the telephone calls we were getting and hang-ups. We were getting calls 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Did you know where they were coming from?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know where they were coming from?
Caller ID showed York Equipment.
Boy, you think this caller ID was a wonderful invention, and it turns out it's used for all kinds of different things. All right, so he filed 2 restraining orders against you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know something? It sounds like a little bit of an abusive process, but Ms. Clark, based upon what you did in having him arrested, I think that he was exercising probably restraint. I don't believe that there was any basis for you to have him arrested. I don't believe that he threatened to kill you. I believe that you got the police's attention. That's what I believe. Based on your testimony today, he never threatened to kill you. Never. All right. Miss Clark's statement to the police was designed to get their attention.
Because it was said.
No, it was not said, Miss Clark, because on 3 separate occasions, giving you every opportunity today to recount what he said to you, the most important thing would be, to any normal person, was he threatened to kill me by saying, I will kill you. I will kill Lou. Then I'll kill myself. Time and time again, all you said was, the last time around, you'll get yours, or I'll get you, or something like that. You left out, I'll get you.
That's after 10 or 11 calls, though, Your Honor.
Just a second. You never spoke to him again, madam. You spoke to him once, and then you said you did not take the other calls because you saw his caller ID.
He left messages.
He left messages. Let me hear them.
I don't have them.
Well, it also seems to me, Miss Clark, that if someone threatened you with bodily harm to an extent that you called the police, and then if you were listening to messages, you would retain them, bring the tape.
I don't have
so
a
that
tape.
there would be no, you would get a tape so the police could listen to them and then pursue this matter, because then you're dealing with a real nut. He's suing you for $5,000, which he is absolutely entitled to, and I am granting his judgment for $5,000 against you, and I'm dismissing your counterclaim. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continued.
Now, this case.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cleary versus Gray, step forward, please.
Homemaker Sandy Cleary and her son, 5-year-old Nicholas, are suing their neighbor, accounts receivable clerk Cynthia Gray. Sandy claims Cynthia's dog bit Nicholas in the face.
Miss Cleary, this is your little boy?
Yes.
What's your name?
Nicholas.
Nicholas, why don't you come up here? You're going to sit right up here next to me.
There you go.
Nicholas, how old are you?
5.
You know who I am?
It's Judy.
Right. Do you ever watch me on television? You know what it is to be in court? Is this court where you are now? Okay. You know you have to tell the truth when you're in court, right? Show me where you were bitten, Nicholas.
On my nose.
On your nose? Looks okay to me. Is it all better now? It's all better? Good. Miss Cleary, you and the defendant are neighbors, and according to your complaint, one of her dogs bit your son.
Correct.
You want her to pay you $5,000 for whatever. Pain, suffering, a whole bunch of other things. How far away do you live from Mrs. Gray?
We have an apartment complex that we live in, and there's a home dividing Cindy's home to our apartment complex.
She lives in a private house.
Correct.
With a yard.
Correct.
With a fenced yard.
Yes.
How high is the fence?
It's probably about Nicholas's height, maybe a little bit taller.
And what kind of dogs does she have?
She has a medium-sized dog, mixed breed, and a little Chihuahua-sized dog.
Okay, and her dogs are behind the fence.
Correct.
Always behind the fence, unless she's walking them.
Well, not so correct on that one. Sometimes the dogs are free to either get out with the children also in the neighborhood to go in.
No, the children don't go in, I assume, unless their parents are with them.
Well, Cindy has also a young son, and my children, as well as other neighborhood children, have been able to go into the backyard to see if he's there to play.
Okay.
Versus the front door, actually.
No, but you wouldn't allow your 5-year-old to go there.
No.
Of course not. So, on what date was Nicholas bitten?
September 10th.
And where were you?
I was in the front yard of our apartment complex.
And who was with Nicholas?
His little friend, Lily.
How old is Lily?
She's the same age.
So you have 2 5-year-olds. And you were watching them?
Yes.
Well, tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was Nicholas and Lily both had asked if they could go see Nina and Riley.
Nina and Riley are the 2 dogs?
The 2 dogs, correct.
Yes.
And I said that would be okay, but it didn't look as if anybody was home and to please not go into the fence, as children always do. And he said, okay. And the last I knew, he went to go and see the dogs and then he started screaming.
Just a minute. when he and Lily, also age 5, went over to the defendant's home, could you see your son?
No, Your Honor, I could not.
Why not?
Because, I mean, it's very close quarters. Her driveway goes back a little further than where ours does.
Yes.
It happened very quickly. My older son had also gone over there with them.
Where's your older son?
He's not here today. He didn't see what happened as well.
Then I don't need him here. So what you're saying is your son went into her yard.
Yes. The gate has never been a real well-shutting gate.
That's not the issue, whether it's shut well or not. Ms. Cleary, you are the parent. Correct. You have a responsibility. You have a 5-year-old child. Your 5-year-old child should not be out of your sight when playing out in the street. And if your 5-year-old child comes to you and says, I want to go and play with the 2 dogs, and you believe, as you said, that the defendant is not home or that nobody is home, you get off your duff and you get up and you say, you want to go and see the dogs, I will go with you. Madam, this is your fault. This is not the defendant's fault. She has 2 dogs. Her dogs are behind a fence, well protected. If your son hadn't gone into the yard, your son would not have gotten bitten. And you just told me that the fence doesn't work too well, the gate doesn't work too well. Where are you? I mean, you're out talking to a friend? It's your job to watch him. And if you were negligent in taking care of your own son, don't blame anybody else.
Your Honor, I am not blaming anybody else. It happened so quickly. I instructed him that he could only pet the dogs over the fence, as he always does. The children and him, they always pet the dogs.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened. He went inside.
Then you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
I disagree, Your Honor, but...
Well, that's your prerogative to disagree. I'm telling you, it's your fault. It's not her fault. Your son went into her property, and you were outside, and it's your responsibility to take care of your child. It's not her responsibility to take care of your child. And you had the opportunity to do that by taking him by the hand with his friend Lily, walking him over to the fence, saying, I want to go and pet the dogs. Fine. Don't go into the yard, because you don't know what 2 5-year-olds do. 2 5-year-olds don't always have judgment. And this is a situation where you're looking to blame somebody else for your negligence, malfeasance, lack of proper parenting, and you're not going to do that here. Your case is dismissed. You were wonderful, Nicholas. Goodbye.
This is case number 439 on the calendar in the matter of Elite Limousine versus Armstrong. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Who's going to speak on behalf of Elite Limousine?
I will. I'm Deborah Williams.
Well, it's an interesting case. You provided limousine service for the defendant's wedding, picked up the defendant, and I assume the wedding party at the church and took them to where they had to go. Your bill for the evening was $795, something like that. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant refuses to pay. The defendant says that it was very nice of you to send the limousine. She never hired you. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When were you married?
October 26th.
Where?
At Zora United Methodist Church in Greer, South Carolina.
How big is this town in Carolina?
It's not a very big town.
How many churches are there?
Probably 30.
Was this on a Sunday?
It was a Saturday.
Is it your experience that all 30 churches, or most of them, have weddings on Saturdays?
Usually, yes, ma'am.
Booked a lot in advance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to try to explain to me your theory of how they arrived at your church to pick you up at your wedding on the 26th of October, just at the time that you and your wedding party were leaving the church. Explain that to me.
Well, it started about a month and a half prior to my wedding. I was calling around numerous places to get prices on limos. I contacted Elite Limousine at the time of contact over the telephone. I spoke with a lady and I told her I needed a limousine for my wedding. She asked me to give her the specifics, where the church was, what time my wedding was, how long I would need the limo, and so forth, and that she would put the man on the phone with me that would take the information down for me.
Go ahead.
Okay, once he got on the phone, I gave him the specifics as far as date, where the wedding was going to be held, the times I needed the service, and at that time he told me that it would be $795 and that it required a $150 deposit. I told him at that time on the phone that I was not prepared to pay the deposit because I'd like to speak with my fiance. He told me that would be fine. What he would do is keep the information I'd given him, and I had until 5 o'clock that day to call him back with a $150 deposit, and if I did not call back, it would cancel out and the reservation would not be held up. So I spoke with my husband. We decided not to do it, and because he told me I didn't have to call back, if I didn't pay the deposit it would cancel, I never called back. The day of my wedding, I walk out of the church and there's a limo there.
No, now stop a second. That's how they got to your wedding, according to you.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people were in your wedding party that ultimately used the limousine?
There were 3 bridesmaids, 3 groomsmen, 2 flower girls, a ring bearer, and my husband and I, and 2 ushers.
How did you all get to the church?
We drove our own personal vehicles, and prior to the wedding, we had all decided that we would follow each other to the reception. That was our intentions after the wedding, to carpool to the reception.
So you gave up the idea of hiring a limousine?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
So after my wedding, we walk out of the church, the limo's there, everybody's amazed, and I've got a videotape showing the actual footage where we're walking out of the church. As we walked up to the limo driver had the door open and he was standing there, and I said, "What is the limo for?" And he said, "Are you Sherry Armstrong?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "If you're Sherry Armstrong, this limo's for you." And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, I don't understand. I didn't rent a limo." He says, "If you're Sherry Armstrong, it's paid in full, everything's taken care of."
Okay.
So we got in the limo.
Got in and you went. And that's how it happened. So you thought it was a gift from somebody. Now I'll hear your side, Miss Williams.
Well, I think it was late evening in August. Miss Armstrong called. When I answer the phone, I always give people rates of each vehicle that we have.
Well, she says that nobody gave her the rates.
First thing we do anytime we answer the phone.
Do you remember her call specifically?
I do.
Well, then I want you to tell me her call specifically, if you remember.
I do. My husband took her call.
Okay, then if this is your husband, so let me hear you.
Yes, ma'am, I did. She called, and she was a very nice lady, and she had some unusual requests. She told me that she was on a budget. We understand that. She initially booked a Navigator. We have a Navigator SUV Super Stretch. So I told her to help her out. I would do what we call a split run, which we don't normally do, but the Greer, the church that she was at, is a well-known church in our community. Our shop is also located in Greer. So usually...
Don't tell me usually.
Okay.
She says, and it sounds logical to me, that if you were going to hold this date of October 26th, that would have required a deposit. What she says has a ring of truth to it, that she was told that you'll hold the date for her till the end of the day, then you're going to need a deposit to hold the date permanently and to show up at the wedding.
No, ma'am. She told me she would like to book the vehicle. A deposit is customary, but it's not something we do all the time. Yes, ma'am. And the reason I waived the deposit in this case is she said she didn't have a credit card. She would pay cash the day of the service. She did book the car. She gave me the information where to pick her up at the church. She said she was going to the City Club, from the City Club wherever, which was after their reception. And the reason I gave her a flat rate is because we did do a split, and she wanted to be picked up back at 4 o'clock from 4 to 8. The reason I waived the deposit is because I did have all her information, and I had her work phone number, and I had the church. So I had no reason to believe that it was a call that would be somebody, playing a joke or anything.
I'd like to see the contract that you say she signed.
This is the contract. That was the total amount, and I'll explain that to Judge.
I just want to see her signature and tell me when you sent her the contract. Well, this was signed on the day of the wedding.
Yes, ma'am. We send the contract with the drivers unless they request it in advance, and then we faxed it to them. But since it was not requested, we always send it's considered a trip sheet. Each driver has that with them.
Tell me about this contract.
Okay. That contract was explained to me as a damage waiver. 5 hours into I'd already been to my reception. The limo picked me up at 4 o'clock, like he was supposed to. At 4 o'clock, we went to the church. We cleaned the church up. We left the church, and we were at a gas station 5 hours into the reception. The limo driver comes up to me. That was on a clipboard. He said, "Miss Armstrong, I apologize. I'm a new employee." He said, "This should have been signed prior to you getting in the limo at the church." He said, "All this is a damage waiver stating that if you have broken glass, any damages to the limo, you will be responsible for it." And I said, "That's all it is?" He goes, "Yes, ma'am, it is." And then he made a joke, and he says, "Your first official signature is Mrs. Armstrong." Well, I signed it. He walked away, and that was it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You and your husband got in the car, 1, 2, 3, snap, snap, snap. You think that's a gift. You come out of the church, you stop, you say, my God, what is this? My goodness gracious me, where did this come from?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah and Gregory Williams claim they've yet to be paid for a limousine rented for Sherry Armstrong's wedding. Sherry denies ordering the limo.
Okay, Mr. Williams. You have your driver here?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see your driver.
I'm Gene Thompson, Your Honor.
Did you make a mistake, Mr. Thompson, that day?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, did you make a mistake, sir?
No, ma'am.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I've dealt with limousine services before, and it's not usually handled this way.
Well, it's a judgment call as far as waiving the deposit.
It's not a judgment call, Mr. Williams. It's business. If you told me that you knew this lady, that she came as a reference, that she came through a relative, that you knew her at all, and you decided that you were going to waive the deposit and hold the date anyway, maybe I could understand that. But someone who's calling you from the yellow pages that you don't know from a hole in the wall, you don't waive the deposit and hold that date and hold your Suburban. What if somebody else calls you and then she decides at the last minute that she's not going to use your service?
Ms. Williams can answer that. She did call back and she reconfirmed the date.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Tell me about that.
About a week prior to the event, I got a call. I would assume it was Miss Armstrong. She did not say she was. She was calling to check to be sure that her limo was confirmed. And she spoke about the number of people that would be in there. I said the limit in the Navigator is 15 people. She asked if more people could get in there. I said, no, ma'am, that's the capacity. We have a larger vehicle.
I never called back. I did ask them about the capacity. The first call I made about a month and a half prior to my wedding, I never called them, nor did I go down there or pay any type of deposit.
I didn't ask you about going down there, paying any kind of deposit. I asked you about a telephone call.
I called one time, and it's a month and a half prior to my wedding, and that's it.
How many other limousine companies did you call?
Probably, I would say at least 8.
Who was the cheapest?
They were, actually.
Then what changed your mind about having a limousine pick you up at the wedding?
My fiance and I talked about it, and we just decided for $800 it just wasn't worth it, so we decided not to do it. And
I'd like to see your video.
Okay. This is right after our pictures were taken in the church. We were coming out.
I'm watching you. Whose car is the black car? Is the dark car right over there?
The black car there, I'm not sure. That must be a guest.
And it was as you were coming out there that you saw the limousine?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I have to make a judgment. They say that you called and reserved this limousine. You say you did not. You thought it was a gift. That is not what happens when you think that that's a gift. If you think that's a gift, what you say is you stop, you come out of the church, you stop, you say, my God, what is this? You turn around to the person driving the car and you say, my goodness gracious, put your hand down. My goodness gracious me, where did this come from? I didn't order this. This must be some mistake. You and your husband got in the car, 1, 2, 3, snap, snap, snap. Took a picture. I didn't see anything that says, where did this come from? This must be some gift. $795 judgment for the plaintiff. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They made the reservations. They knew it wasn't paid for.
I never signed a contract.
She said she'd take care of everything at the end of the evening. At the end of the evening, they were very intoxicated.
The limo driver told us repeatedly that it was paid for.
They were getting unruly.
I just feel like I'm not responsible.
I told them go ahead and just let them out. I would handle it in the morning.
We assumed, which we shouldn't have, that the limo had been taken care of by a family member or someone else in the party.
Well, they had 3 hours before the reception, before the driver came back to find out who had rented the limousine.
We had no idea.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of AG versus Horry, step forward, please.
Rebecca Agee and her fiance James Crane are suing their former friends Scott Horry and his wife Sarah for moving expenses and the value of personal property. The Horrys are countersuing for lost wages and emotional distress.
Mr. and Mrs. Agee, you and the defendants had been good friends. According to you, you were living in Oregon. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And both couples decided that they would be better off in their lives if they relocated to Iowa. Now, who came from Iowa?
We did, Your Honor.
So you agreed to sort of split the costs of moving and travel together. And once you got to Iowa, Mr. and Mrs. Horry were going to help you find a job. I don't know whether you were going to live together, but hopefully you would both live happily ever after in Iowa.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it didn't work out that way, and according to you, things turned sour on the trip. You claim that the Howries owe you for expenses, property that they kept, mental anguish, and you also want them to pay for your trip back from Iowa to Oregon because it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
They say that they thought everything went along just fine. They have a counterclaim because they say that you aggravated them.
Breathe.
Breathe. All right. Let me hear it succinctly.
We thought that they were really good friends of ours when we met them. We moved into 10 Mile, Oregon, and they were our neighbors, and we invited them over many times for everything.
Let's cut to the chase. You decided to move to Iowa with them.
We moved to Iowa with them. When we got to their home in Iowa, they were rude to us. They put us in a small room with 2 cat boxes. I also have he's almost 8 months old now, my son. When we got there, we had no money. They were supposed to pay us for half of the U-Haul.
Which was how much?
$117.50. And they said that we owed them money instead.
What did they owe you money for?
We paid for everything, including the trailer. We agreed upon that we would also give them a place to stay, give them a job, and we did all of that. Above and beyond,
Your Honor.
when they had reached Colorado, when they ran out of money, I had gone...
They ran out of money in Colorado?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. His parents helped them out to get gas, and they came up to Wyoming
And
finally
met us where we
and
were
met us
supposed to
there.
meet.
Did you need to borrow some money from his parents? That's easy to find out, so just answer my question.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much money did you take from his parents?
Somewhere around $30.
You mean the two of you were traveling with a new baby with absolutely no money? Now, wouldn't it have been more prudent to stay in Oregon and save a little more money? Save $500, $1,000. Save it up so that you're not driving around with an 8-month-old baby with no money.
We had the money, ma'am. We ended up paying for the U-Haul. Mr. Hari paid for the deposit on the U-Haul.
Are you saying $117? Is that what
No.
you're talking about?
That's
how
half
much?
of it.
That's half of it. The full amount was $230-something, I believe.
Yes.
We would have had the full amount if they would have given us the money when we got there to make it all the way.
You're just not following me.
I'm sorry.
That's a big trip to make.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
unless things are so terrible in Oregon that you weren't surviving there.
We were hoping for a brand new start, something new. They guaranteed him a job when
You
we got
can't
there.
guarantee anything. No, you don't rely on anybody for anything.
Yeah, we've learned that in the past
Well, you
couple
don't.
of months.
All right. His parents gave you $30 for gas. Did you ever pay him back?
No.
We haven't made it that far yet.
What's next?
When they reached Cheyenne, Wyoming, I went up to Becky, knowing they had no money left, and said, would you rather me pay for the rest of your gas to get to Iowa since you have no more money left? And that was the new agreement.
Okay, and you had no money for, just a second, and you had no money for gas.
Right.
So how much did you pay for gas for their car?
Approximately around $200. And we also were paying for food, which was a new agreement, so we had no problem with that.
And we
What
are
was the
not
new-
suing for that.
Okay, so it's clear to me you had no money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you had to borrow $30 from his parents. And how many days were you on the road after you borrowed $30 from his parents?
Less than a day.
Less than a day.
And then you got to the house?
No, we met in Cheyenne and we
Okay.
drove.
How many days was it
We
that
were
you
on the
lived in
road.
the house?
We were there for a little over
and a half.
24 hours.
How much did you spend in gas? I'm trying to figure out if we've used up this $117.
We have receipts, Your Honor.
I'm asking you.
From what point, Your Honor? I don't understand.
From the point you ran out of money.
We ran out of money in Longmont to
How did
Iowa.
you eat? Who fed you?
We stopped for food once with them. And
What
that
about
was
when
it.
you got to the house? You said they put you
They
in a
had
room.
no food at
They
the
had-
house.
Yeah.
They had no electricity. We had to clean out the refrigerator.
Just a second. So how did you eat that day?
We didn't.
We went and bought them Pizza Hut.
Yes, we
We
had
bought
Pizza Hut.
them a whole bunch of food. The very next day, we also went out and bought them a big barbecue to have food, and we provided their baby with formula.
Does any of that sound right? You had no money.
No, ma'am.
How did your baby eat?
I had formula for him when
Listen,
I left
I'm not
Oregon.
bothering with this.
We-
They're not paying for your trip home. They're not paying for any of the moving expenses from Oregon to Iowa. They've already taken care of that. Now, you want to tell me What about the value of personal property you say they kept? What personal property did they keep?
They pawned our television set and
TV. What happened to their television sets?
Yes, we did pawn it because she gave us every permission to sell all their stuff when they left, because they left and they had no intentions to come back, and she made sure that I kept her green tub. She had a green tub full of personal belongings, like pictures, birthday cards, and stuff like that, that she had said meant so much to her. So I promised her and I swore to her we would not get rid of that stuff.
And for 2 days straight, it was, what do we do with your belongings?
That's
the first
not true,
night,
Your Honor.
it was,
He asked me how long I should keep it. He should keep it.
the first night, I understand everything was in an outrage. She had said, I don't care what you do with my stuff, just don't get rid of my big green bucket.
Now, how much did you sell the TV for?
Somewhere around $80-some is what we got for it at the pawn shop.
Okay, now let me hear your counterclaim.
We're suing because, or countersuing because James had made threats to us, to our vehicles, and to our home.
I don't want to hear
when
you
everything
from
turned
speaking.
violent and he was starting to push his way around, and we had to have him escorted off the property twice.
Your Honor.
Our neighbors.
When was that?
It had to have been in August. I'd say around the 25th.
And you haven't seen him since?
No, we
Your
haven't.
Honor.
Shh, speak not. And you haven't had any contact with him in many months, is that right?
Nope, not except for
What
through
else?
you. And loss of wages is all we're suing
What loss
for.
of wages for what?
We think it is a waste to be here.
You should have said no.
Yeah.
What, no isn't part of your vocabulary?
No.
There you go. Somebody calls you and says, would you like to have your dispute resolved before Judge Judy Scheindlin? And you say, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss work. There you go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get nothing.
Ma'am.
Zippo.
That's cool.
Good. Cool. You get $80 for your TV. And go. Have a happy life. Goodbye.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mason versus DeRose. Step forward, please.
17-year-old pharmacy technician Mark Mason is suing former schoolmate, 18-year-old Michael DeRose, for selling him phony tickets to an Aerosmith concert.
Mr. Mason, it is your claim that the defendant sold you some tickets. They were concert tickets, but they were tickets that permitted you to go backstage.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you paid how much for those tickets?
The total ticket cost for 4 tickets was $220.
And according to you, Mr. Mason, when you got to the concert, you couldn't go backstage with those tickets. Somebody told you that they were bogus. Is that
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
Mr. DeRose says he never sold you real backstage tickets. They were laminated memorabilia tickets.
Novelties, yes.
Novelties. And he told you that.
Yes, and they were not tickets, Your Honor.
They were just backstage passes.
They were laminated passes, yes.
So these passes that he sold you did not enable you to go into the concert. Is that right?
Well, when we talked to Michael about it, he informed us that, first of all, he did tell us that they were real tickets.
Just a second.
Sure.
Would you answer my question?
I'm sorry.
Were these just to permit you to go backstage, or did they permit you to get into the concert as well?
They were all access passes, so you're allowed to go anywhere on the grounds, including into the concert.
Okay. For 4 people, $220?
Yes.
Now, what concert was this?
It was an Aerosmith concert that was to take place at the Connecticut Meadow Centers in Hartford on September 5th.
And how did you know the defendant?
I went to school with him last year. I had a couple classes with him. And
How did you know he was selling these tickets?
he had sold them previously to people, and it was just sort of known that he said he had a connection at the Meadows Theater, and he could get backstage passes to concerts.
Do you have those tickets with you?
No, when we got to the concert grounds, all 4 tickets were confiscated at the gate.
Did you get to see the concert at all?
No, we were escorted off the grounds.
Now, gave $220 in cash?
Yes.
You don't deny that you got $220 in cash?
Oh, yes, I do deny that. I actually
How
have
much did you
receipts
get?
here. If you'd like to.
How much did you get?
I got around $40 at the most. They were $5 each ticket without the name on it, and $7 with, plus the shipping and handling.
Let me hear you, sir.
When we originally approached him, he said that the tickets were $50 each without names on them and $60 each with names, and he did not charge us shipping and handling.
You got them from him directly, hand to hand?
Yes, that's correct. He delivered them to my place of employment, which is a pharmacy that I work at with Lisa over there.
Mr. DeRose, I believe him. So let's move on from there.
Your Honor,
Okay?
this is-
I believe him.
I have documents here.
Oh, let me see.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see what documents you have, sir.
There you go. Marcus and I were both in Cisco Laboratories, and
Just a minute.
okay. The top copy is the receipts that I paid for through PayPal.
Just a minute.
Okay.
I wish I understood this PayPal. Can you explain it to me, Bird?
PayPal is basically it's just an online ordering system. You drop money in your bank account or credit card, and it goes directly right through there to the person's email, and it gets dropped into their bank account right away. So
What
it's
he
instantaneous.
What he said.
There you go.
What he said. Whatever happened to you have a checkbook in a little...
Your Honor, that takes time. This is instantaneous. Sorry.
What happened to those checkbooks? You know, you write a check and then you write something on top and you say check number 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's basically an online
Right.
check. Sorry.
We're talking here.
I don't want to interrupt.
Is that what you use? Those checks thing?
Yeah, I still use checks for the
Yeah,
most
I
part.
still use checks. Would you show this to Mr. Mason, please? Because I don't understand it, but maybe he does. And I want you to take a look at that, Mr. Mason.
All
That's
that
a
is
thing.
the-
Shh.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's a thing from PayPal. What do you have to say about that?
All that is the way.
I didn't.
Okay.
I am actually not involved in PayPal, so I couldn't tell you what this is. I mean, he may have gotten the tickets through this, but...
But that's not your... You didn't
is
have
not
anything to
my
do with
receipt,
that.
No.
That's not your receipt.
No.
You don't know anything about that.
Nope.
You don't use PayPal.
No.
Your Honor, that's how I purchased the tickets.
I don't care how you purchased the tickets. Who
Well,
cares about how you purchased the
That's
tickets?
how he got them.
What difference does it make how you purchased the tickets? No, the prices are on there what you paid for the tickets.
Yes.
Not what you charged him for the tickets.
Well, also you have the eBay listing for the passes.
What difference does that make?
On there it says these items are novelties. And
What?
Mark,
Let me ask you, what difference does that make?
Your Honor, as I was stating before, Marcus and I were in the same classroom, and we were always on the computer playing video games.
Oh, get lost. Listen to me. He says he paid $220 for the tickets, and I believe him. I still believe him after you show me this stuff, that he paid $220 for the tickets. They were 4 tickets. He was supposed to go to a concert. He got to the concert. They confiscated his 4 tickets because they said they were bogus.
No, they were passes. They were not tickets. That was clearly stated, and everyone that Marcus talked to that actually got into backstage concerts with them knew that they needed tickets.
I don't care what anybody else knows.
He never
Old
had
Marcus
tickets.
over here, maybe he's not as smart as all your other friends. When he pays
Mark's very smart,
$220
actually.
for 4 tickets, he thinks that he's going to at least get to hear a song. Right? And he got to hear nothing.
Your Honor,
Judgment for the plaintiff
he
in the
never
amount of
purchased
$220. Goodbye.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Colleen versus Bradford. Step forward, please.
23-year-old bartender Nita Kaleem is suing her former friend, 27-year-old furniture refinisher Terrence Bradford, for assaulting her during a night of drinking.
Miss Kaleem, how do you know the defendant?
Terrence Bradford was a friend of mine.
What does that mean, a friend of yours? Was he a
A
boyfriend?
friend of mine, just an associate. We lived a block away from each other. If I wasn't working and he wasn't working, we'll call each other, go out.
It's your complaint that he assaulted you for no reason one evening when you were both drinking.
Right.
Mr. Bradford says that you were drunk and you went nuts and he was merely defending himself. So I want you to tell me when this happened, what kind of an assault it was, what your injuries were, and then I have a few other serious questions to ask you.
Okay.
When was it?
It was on September 11th of 2002.
Where were you and what were you doing?
I was in Terrence Bradford's home. We were...
Who else lives in his home?
His mother, and I think his stepfather, his father.
Were they home?
His mother was home, yes.
Go ahead. What time of the day?
Around 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Come on, let me hear what happened.
Okay, what happened was Terrence called me earlier that night. He was like, "What you doing?" I said, "Nothing, I'm not doing anything." "Well, let's go get some beer that he drinks." Now, this is like some strong beer, and I don't really drink like that. Every time I get with Terrence, I drink with him. And we were drunk that night. We were both drinking. And
in his mother's house?
In his mother's house, yes. And what happened was I couldn't breathe. I was having difficulty breathing. All I remember was...
You were having difficulty breathing from what?
From, I don't know, I just couldn't breathe. I was on the bed. I remember him calling his mother, asking his mother, what's the matter with her? She's not breathing right. She's acting funny. I remember his mother saying that, you know, just get a cold rag or whatever. She's just been drinking a little bit. She'll be all right. Next thing I know, I'm standing in the kitchen with his mother. Then she has a towel to my head. I don't remember getting hit. I got hit 3 times, actually.
You just told me you don't remember getting hit.
No, I don't remember getting hit. But the way that I got hit, I have pictures if you want to see. I sustained a black eye, my nose was busted, and I have a scar on my head from where I got hit, where actually, if he did hit me, he had to have hit me at least a minimum of 3 times.
Maybe you fell off the bed.
No, I did not fall off the bed.
How do you know?
I did not fall off the bed.
Just a minute, Ms. Kaleem. What you're telling me is that you were so drunk that you had no idea how you got bruised on your face. Is that what you're telling me?
That I was so drunk. We were drinking that night.
Just a second. No, just a second. If somebody hits you 3 times, severely enough to cause injuries, which you're going to show me in a second,
right,
and you don't remember how that happened, but you're surmising that from the photographs it came as a result of being hit 3 times, what you're telling me is that you don't remember being hit. Is that right? And if you don't remember being hit, you don't remember being hit because you were too drunk. You report him to the police?
No, I didn't.
Just a second. Is there any reason why somebody who has, can I have those pictures? Somebody who has this kind of injury that you claim was as a result of getting beaten by him doesn't report this to the police?
His cousin called me 2 days later. Terrence is sorry, please don't press charges on Terrence.
I'm not interested in that, and I'm not even hearing that.
Okay.
It's hearsay, it's meaningless,
okay.
I don't believe it.
Okay, okay.
You have that witness here today? That person who told you that he was sorry?
That's his cousin. I don't talk to anybody.
Listen to me. Do you have that person here today, Miss Kaleem?
No, I don't.
Good, then I'm not interested in what they have to say. Well, this certainly, Bird, do you think, and I want you to just take a look at this, you think that this mark could have happened if you fell off a bed?
It's possible.
Yeah, sure, anything's possible. All right, Mr. Bradford, tell me what happened.
When she came around my house, she was already a little drunk. So I said, let's go to the store and get some more beer.
That was a smart thing to do. That was initially a smart thing to do, sir. So she was already a little drunk, and you said, let's go get some more. Is that right?
Yes,
please. How old are you?
27.
The future of America. So she's already drunk. You said, let's go get some more beer, and I assume that you went in her car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you tell me in your answer. You got in her car. She was already drunk.
Yeah.
And you drove to get some more beer.
Mm-hmm.
Who drove?
I did.
Who drove?
Did I drive? Oh, I forgot. Did you? I don't know.
See,
I did drive.
Lying. He's lying.
Miss Kaleem.
Lying
Miss
about.
Kaleem.
Lying
I don't want to hear you.
everything.
I'm enjoying this,
Lying.
please. Go ahead.
After we got the beer, we went out Huntersville, on my old
You
neighborhood.
went what?
So after we got the beer, we went out Huntersville. It's a neighborhood. I used to stay out there.
What did you do? Just stay in the car and drink, or you went to friends?
Yeah, went to a friend's house. Went to his house.
Okay, so you went to his house and you were drinking. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. We out there. We still drinking out there. After we get finished drinking the 40s, we started drinking some liquor. Then Nita started wilding.
She started what?
Wilding.
What is that?
Acting crazy.
I'm crazy.
Right. That I understand.
So I was telling her to calm down because the security guards out there. Oh, they calm down, Nita. They're gonna arrest you. So I threw her in the car, then went back to my house. I told my mom that she was in there breathing heavy. And then we went outside on the porch because I said she needed some air. And then she just snapped. Then I told her, I said, look, just get your stuff and go home.
So you're going to put her in her car, being as drunk as she was, and send her home?
Oh, she started snapping on me for nothing. I don't know why.
Can I say something?
No. Could you finish, please?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you would look like you were taking a nap. Get to how, if you know, she got these marks on her face. Would you tell me, please?
Okay. I threw up against the wall.
Okay.
Then I told her to go home. Then I was walking out the door. Then she threw a bottle at me. I dug it, then I hit her.
Where did you hit her?
In her face.
Is that the black eye she had?
Yeah.
Now, how'd she get this mark on her forehead?
I hit on her forehead, too.
Okay, good. And what did she do to you?
Nothing.
Nothing.
She threw the bottle at me.
She threw a bottle at you. What kind of a bottle did she throw at you?
A 40 bottle.
Do you have any recollection of that?
Ma'am, no. I never went out on the porch that night.
You were drunk.
We were in the bedroom. No, we were in the room watching TV and we were drinking. We had just came back from Huntersville that night.
Miss Colleen, listen to me very carefully. Don't get drunk. How old are you?
22.
You don't get drunk?
23 now.
Don't get drunk.
Okay.
That's the lesson. He got drunk. You got drunk. You don't remember what happened to you. He's honest enough or slow enough to tell me that he hit you 3 times, all right? That's honest. He hit you 3 times because he said you threw a 40 bottle at him. Well, that's really no excuse for hitting you 3 times. Maybe a push to get you away if you're drunk, but he was drunk too.
I mean, he wants to get drunk and be hitting on people for no reason because I couldn't breathe or whatever. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Where is your responsibility in all this? He's an idiot.
I don't have any responsibility in any of this. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
if
listen
we're
to me.
friends and we go out and drink.
My mouth is moving. Your mouth has to stop. Your responsibility to yourself as an adult is not to get so drunk so that you don't know what you're doing. You do have a responsibility. Because if he did, in fact, assault you and you had no responsibility, then you would have called the police and made a complaint, and he would have been arrested for assault because that's what he did. And the reason that you couldn't do that, even if you had wanted to do that, is because you were so drunk that you have no self-induced. He didn't order you to drink. He didn't compel you to drink. He didn't get you down on the floor and use a funnel and funnel it into your mouth. You went to his house on purpose for the express purpose of drinking. And I believe everything he says, that you did arrive at his house already having consumed alcohol.
Okay, can I say one thing?
No.
He called 2 days later.
What part of no didn't you understand?
How's he gonna apologize?
What part of no didn't you understand? Because he's stupid and called you to apologize.
He agreed that he was going to pay for my medical bills.
Good, he should pay for your medical bill.
For my one
Good. Just a second. He should pay for your medical bill. Did you agree to pay for a medical bill?
Yes, ma'am. I told you.
Yes, you did. Good. And what was your medical bill?
$159.
That's what he's going to pay. Judgment for the plaintiff.
He
for
agreed
$159
to pay for this
outside.
Now, this is case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Cochran versus Marsh. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Cochran, according to your complaint, you and the defendant had dated for a period of time. You became ill and were hospitalized for a period of 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
When was that, sir?
August 30th.
It is your claim, sir, that Miss Marsh, during the time you were hospitalized, took your bank card and withdrew some $1,700 from your bank card without your permission.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you started to complain to her about taking the money after you were released from the hospital, you then claimed she filed false stalking charges against you. You were arrested. You were forced to wear a bracelet, an ankle bracelet monitor, which you had to pay for.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in total, you are suing her for some $3,000 because you say that these charges were false.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So let's start with the hospitalization. What were you hospitalized for, Mr. Cochran?
My doctor said I was under a lot of stress from working a lot. I took a vacation to get away, but it didn't do no good.
So it was a psychiatric hospitalization?
It was behavioral medicine.
Were you self-admitted or did someone admit you?
They took me by ambulance.
From where?
From McDonald's, where the defendant works.
What happened? Did anything happen in McDonald's?
I felt kind of hot and felt like I was going to faint, and they said I fainted in front of the counter.
But there wasn't a scene or anything there?
No.
Now, how did you get custody of his bank card?
When Paul was admitted to the hospital, he had bills that needed to be paid. His father brought the bills to him at the hospital. He told me to come up. He needed me to take care of his finances. Paul, myself, and the psych tech had to go to security for Paul to release the bank card, the bank number, and details as to what I was supposed to do for him. Yes, Your Honor, I did withdraw the money, which I have proof of, to pay his bills. I have the bills that I paid for Mr. Cochran.
Can I see them, please?
These are the withdrawals. These are most of the bills that I could gather up. That's about like $900 and some worth. And I also have the bill where he said he loaned me $300, that I deposit $300 into its account.
Are you saying you paid $300 of your own bills out of his money?
Yes, I did.
You have a letter indicating that it was with his permission that you paid $300 worth of your bills?
No, I don't have a letter.
Then you can't pay $300 of your bills using his money.
Okay.
Miss Marsh, because if Paul is there for a psychiatric hospitalization,
okay,
you don't do anything with regard to your problems.
Mm-hmm.
You only deal with his problems if you're being a friend.
I did that, and I replaced the $300.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is what I was...
Okay.
There's it right here.
When did you replace the $300?
On 9/5/01.
What did he buy on his Zales account? A jewelry store?
He had bought a ring for me. He had bought like a necklace for me.
Did you buy gifts for her?
Yes, Your Honor, but I paid cash for him before we went on vacation to Orlando. There was only one bill that was paid while I was in the hospital, and that was $209.
Capital One bank credit card, $30, $83. Sprint cell phone?
That was her cell phone, Your Honor.
How do I know these are his bills?
Well, because we both had buddy phone bills. I have those.
You paid Sprint $125, and then you have another money order receipt that you paid Sprint $83.15.
Mm-hmm. For the 2 cell phones.
Well, why were you paying your bill from his account?
Because that's what he told me to do, Your Honor. He said...
No.
Because the phones were in his name.
No. But he's not using them. You had one phone. Who's doctor? A dentist?
I had to have a tooth extracted, and $70, yeah.
So why are you giving me this bill as a bill that you paid for him?
That was one that shouldn't have been in there, but okay.
So I got a Sprint bill that shouldn't have been in there? I got a jewelry store bill?
That's part of the loan, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Can I see how much money was taken out of your account?
It was showing there what was deposited and what was withdrawn the same day, the $300.
All right, now, Miss Marsh, when he got out of the hospital, what happened?
Paul wanted to continue dating, and I told him, I said, Paul, too much is going on. I just don't think it's going to work out between the two of us. And that's when Mr. Cochran started stalking, and...
He didn't say anything to you about the money that was taken out of his account?
No, ma'am. He never said anything about the money. This issue came up after the breakup.
Your Honor?
Yes.
The day I got home, I received a bank statement showing the withdrawals, and I called her and asked her why she withdrew the money from my account without my consent.
And what did she say?
And she hung up on me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have they advised you to be under psychiatric care?
No, Your Honor.
Have they advised you to be on medication?
No.
I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Cochran.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Paul Cochran Jr. says ex-girlfriend Odella Marsh stole money from his bank account while he was in the hospital. Paul says when he was released, Odella had him falsely arrested for stalking.
Now I want to hear about this bracelet. Why did you have to wear a bracelet, sir?
I went to the police station on the case on the bank account.
Okay.
I was arrested in the police department on a warrant by the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department in our town to say that I was stalking her, intimidating her, and invasion of privacy.
Were you doing that?
No, ma'am, I was not.
How was he doing that, Miss Marsh?
Mr. Cochran was phoning my house. He was creating problems on my job to where they fired him out from off of my job. And he came up to the job one day, just radical. He had, that day he had the gun with him. And I left, and I have witness, I went to the police department, and I just was following.
Do you have the papers from the criminal court which ordered you to wear the monitoring bracelet?
Yes, I do.
And the certificate of
I have
disposition?
everything.
I have.
I'd like to see the papers, please.
Okay, here's...
I got the arrest warrant and everything.
Here's everything contrary. Okay?
His, hers.
Thank you. What happened when you appeared in court on July 15th, 2002?
When I appeared in court on that day, his case was dismissed because the last incident where I had to use the panic button, of which I had a device that I carried in my car every day which was ordered by the court, and also had a panic button that I was to keep on my persons at all times. Mr. Cochran was out by the apartment building, and the machine didn't go off. That stunned me because it's supposed to pick him up.
Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
On July, they said that there was several false police reports on the incident, so the prosecutor and the judge dismissed it because of false police reports. But the prosecutor checked in on it, which the monitor will pick up if I come in with 500 feet. On the day that she hit the panic button, I was not in the area. Somebody else was driving my car at the time to see if there was a false police report being made. That's why the case was dismissed. There was an undercover police officer driving the car.
Your Honor, I have a witness that knows how Paul reacted during this time.
May I speak, ma'am?
Sure. Who are you?
I'm a coworker of hers.
Go ahead.
I was the one who called 911 when he had the seizure in the lobby. I was the one who barred him permanently from our store because he had come in to talk to her after he had gotten out of the hospital.
What happened when he would come into the store?
He would try to talk to Odella, and she did not want to speak to him, and she had told him that before. And I simply said, things are not going well. Please leave her alone. If you cannot behave like a gentleman, you can no longer come in here.
Did he not behave like a gentleman when he came in?
He was loud, and he stayed for hours, would not allow her to do her job.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have friends that went there, you know, older guys. I've been going to that place ever since the day it opened up, and I never, ever harassed or anything. I just...
No. Listen to me, sir.
Yeah.
You were asked not to go back.
I didn't go back after the day I left the hospital.
Yes, he
I
did.
never returned.
Yes, he did. I asked him not to come back, and a week later he came back again, and Odella was there, and he wanted to talk to her, and she did not want to speak to him, and that is when I permanently barred him from the store.
So he came back one other time?
He came back another time after that.
When was that?
A week to 2 weeks after that. The first thing I did was call Odella, and I said, he does not look right. He had the same look he had the morning that he passed out and had the seizure on my floor. Please be careful.
Did you ever see him with a gun?
No, I did not. But I am the one who encouraged her to get the restraining order, and I am the one who had her make copies of the receipts.
The copies of the receipts are...
Apparently they're not doing any good, but...
They're not doing any good because they're all not his bills. You're going to get the money back that was taken from your ATM because she can't establish to my satisfaction that she used that money for your benefit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand?
Yes.
You are not going to get back the money for having been forced to wear a bracelet because I believe this lady when she tells me that you were in her place of business when you were told that it's not a good idea for you to be there. And my sense is that you were frustrated. I don't know why, either because you still cared for the lady or because you were angry over the money or whatever reason, but that you didn't do the right thing, and she was afraid because you weren't exactly right. Are you on medication now?
No, Your Honor.
You're not?
No.
Are you under any psychiatric care right now?
No, Your Honor.
Have they advised you to be under psychiatric care?
No, Your Honor.
Have they advised you to be on medication?
No.
I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Cochran. In any event, I'm going to get back the money from your ATM card, but not for the electronic bracelets, because that was probably necessary. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She was filing false police reports and trying to intimidate me, making me look bad and her look good.
He became just a maniac.
I hope people that see this realize what women can do to you. You know, they can clean you out.
Hopefully this is over. Paul will move on with his life and just leave me alone.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Snyder versus Brooks. Step forward, please.
25-year-old hairstylist Jamie Ginsburg Schneider and her husband, Richard Schneider, are suing their neighbor, insurance agent Aaron Brooks, for destroying their entertainment system. The Schneiders say Aaron was watching their home while they were on vacation.
Mr. Schneider, the defendant is a neighbor of yours.
That's correct, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, you went away on vacation. Is this your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a house sitter there to take care of your dogs, and the defendant volunteered also to check on the dogs in the evening.
That's
She
correct.
had a key to your apartment. According to you, when you came a time when you discovered that some entertainment equipment was either damaged and or missing, or was substantial loss on your part for this entertainment equipment, some sort of game station, television receiver. Ms. Brooks says that there was a terrible storm, And when she came down to check on
the
dogs, she also checked on the
equipment, lights, everything.
And she found that the equipment wasn't working, so she took it up to her house, right?
Correct.
To do something with it. And she immediately, when questioned about it, put it back, and she doesn't know anything, right?
Correct.
Can I see the estimates for the damage?
Yes, ma'am. The first one is the original receipt for the game center. That was the replacement receipt, and this next.
Just give me what it cost to replace it.
I believe the totals came to about $1,533. The game station was $213.
Right.
A television, $250, and for the replacement home theater, it came to $770.91.
What's the home theater?
That includes a home theater receiver as well as speakers, speaker wire.
Well, was all that destroyed?
No, ma'am, it wasn't destroyed. However, the speakers that went with the original one were incompatible with the newer model to replace that actual home theater receiver, so they needed to be purchased in order to work with the new receiver.
So my question to you, Ms. Brooks, is you had an agreement that you would come in the evening and check on the dogs. Is that right?
Yes.
What were you thinking about putting your hands on any of their equipment?
Well, we went in, Candace would watch TV there every night. I would go in and sit with the dog there and bring it up to my apartment.
Bring what up to your apartment?
The dog.
So you brought the dog up to your apartment. It's not what I asked you. You took entertainment equipment from their house to your house, and I'm asking you why.
Well, because all the lights were out and nothing was working in the apartment, and same thing in mine. So I did check their stuff. The Xbox would not come on. Everything else did.
Why did you take it to your apartment?
I wanted to see if it would work up there. I did not know what was wrong, and I just checked
Well, they didn't ask you to do that.
Well, I know that, but I took it upon myself to do that. There was other people in the apartment. 3 other people had keys.
That's okay.
It was 2
Just a second. I don't care. Other people did not take equipment. I mean, that's burglary. Madam, you had no permission to do that. You had limited permission. Your limited permission was to enter the house to look after the dogs. You had no permission to check the equipment. You had no permission to touch the equipment. No permission to remove it from the armoire where it had been housed. No permission to take it up to your apartment. No permission to try to see if it worked in your apartment. You had no permission to do that. That's burglary. What?
Ms. Brooks also told us when we got home and noticed all the damage that she was entertaining friends the night that she took the equipment out of the house, and she did not want to bring the friends into our apartment for fear of something happening. So she decided to take the stuff upstairs to her house. That way they could use it in her apartment instead of being in ours.
And you had this conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, what?
I did tell her that.
Why did you tell her that?
Because I was honest with her when I called her, and she
So then
called
why
me.
did you just give me this story that you didn't take the stuff up there, you just took it up to see if it worked in your apartment?
I did. Well, we did have people over there. We
So
lived
you were
down there
playing
together.
with the equipment?
Yeah, we used it.
An idiot. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,233. That's all. Cochran.
Yeah, this is case number 404 on the calendar in the matter of Hubbard versus Votapa. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Hubbard, the defendant is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, your mother promised to give you some money towards the purchase of a car.
Right.
You say that she promised to give you at least $1,000.
Yes.
You went out and purchased a car, and how much did you spend for the car?
The car was actually like $5,500.
I thought you said you spent $3,000.
$3,000 was actually how much I was going to spend on the car when I told my mom. But I actually ended up spending $5,500 because she told me she was going to give me some money.
Excuse me.
Shh, just a minute.
Your Honor?
Speak not.
I've got pertinent information. We never agreed to any amount of money to give him.
Quiet.
But we never agreed.
Could you be quiet?
We never
So last
agreed.
time...
I actually, you know what, Your Honor? $3,000 was how much I said I was going to spend on my car. That's the truth.
You did sign this complaint,
Yes, I
did you
did.
not, sir, where you
Yes,
say,
I
I
did.
bought a car for $3,000?
Right.
All right, so let me see
sorry.
the bill of sale for the car that you bought. Now you
Okay.
say you spent $5,500.
This is actually the loan that I had to take out. You see, Your Honor, actually, you know what, though? The thing is, this whole court... Just
a second.
Okay.
The amount of credit approved was $45.75.
Right, because
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you say that your mother promised to give you at least $1,000. When did she promise to give you this $1,000?
Okay, I got in my car accident. I totaled my car back in March of 2002. And after that, my stepmother, Vicky, she called my mom and told her about the accident. Then I called my mom just to let her know I was okay and everything like that. And she told me, since how my dad bought the first car, she was going to help me like with the second car. She told me she'd give me like $1,200. And she ended up giving me $200 in May as a down payment. And then she told me she'd give me like $100, you know, a month after that, because she couldn't afford to just give me $1,000 like right off the bat. So I said that, I was like, you sure you want to do this, you know? And she's like, yeah, your dad helped you, I want to help you the best I can. I said, okay, that was fine. And so that was the agreement between us. And actually, my mom is really, really a really good mom. I love her to death. She raised me and my brother and my sister as like a single mom, and she did a really good job.
So what are you suing her for?
This is the reason why I'm suing her. I'm suing her actually because the way she's been using her money lately just is not right, because she told me the reason why she wasn't giving me $100 a month is because of her financial problems. I thought she had like serious financial problems, which she actually, it comes to be like out that she really didn't have that many financial problems, because like a couple months later, she told me she bought 2 new cars. She bought a new car for herself and for my stepfather. And I'm like, you know, if you have financial problems, why do you have enough money to buy 2 new cars? And I had to get I had to work extra hours. I'm in college, so I had to like work like 40 hours a week and go to college, and it was killing me. And I was doing it because I thought she had financial problems. Then to come find out, just a couple months ago, I found out she wants to pose in an adult magazine, and she's putting a portfolio together to do that.
So what does that have to do with you?
Well, this is my mom, and I really think
It has nothing to do with you. The only issue is whether she promised to give you another $800.
Your Honor?
She did.
I didn't ask you anything.
But I have some pertinent information.
You
Because
said
it was
that
never-
before, and I said I'm not interested in what you have to say right now, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so she actually told me...
Quiet.
Okay.
Did you have a conversation with your son after he had an automobile accident?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay. And did you indicate to him that you would help him purchase a new car?
Not exactly.
What exactly did you say to him?
I told him that I was going to send him $200 to help him with the down payment of a car. Plus, I sent him $50 for his birthday and advised that he use that towards the down payment of a car. I told him that I would try to send him $100 a month, maybe $50 a month, whatever I could try.
I don't want to hear you. I'm listening to your mother now. She was quiet. Now you keep quiet.
Okay.
I want you to try to think. Try to clear your mind. And I want you to try to think of exactly what you said to him. You said you would give him the down payment, which you gave him. And you did tell him that you would try to send him something every month.
Correct.
How much did you say you would send him every month?
I didn't give him a set amount. I told him it would be anywhere from, I said if I could send him 100, I would. If I could send him 50, I would. You know, if I could send something, I would. But I did not set a dollar amount, and I didn't say that I'd send him $1,000 either. I was just trying to help him as I could. And I think that he's just being really vindictive right now because of the fact that we have different moral values.
Your Honor.
And
I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's upset with me because I am planning on doing a photo shoot with an adult magazine, and I think that he's just being vindictive and bringing me into court for that money because he doesn't want me to do that.
Well, it sounds to me as if you and your son enjoyed a pleasant relationship. Is that right?
That is very correct, yes.
Okay. How old is he?
He's 19.
And how old are you?
I'm 38.
Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many other children do you have?
I have 2.
How old are they?
15 and 10.
And your 15-year-old is a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Where does he live?
With me.
And what about the 10-year-old?
She's a girl and she's with me.
Okay. If what you're telling me is that your son is upset with you, and you say because we have different morals, that's not probably true. Not upset with you because you have different morals. It sounds to me like he's upset with you because he thinks that you made a choice that's going to embarrass him, embarrass yourself, embarrass his brother, embarrass his sister. And to be quite honest with you, madam, although this is not part of this case, he's 100% correct. You have made a very dumb choice if you think at 38 years old as the mother of 3 children, one of whom is 19 years old, and the other one is a 15-year-old teenager, and the other one is a 10-year-old, if you think you're going to have a new career, Hollywood is going to find you at age 38 posing in a magazine that's going to embarrass your child, you're nuts. Hollywood's not looking for you. Do you understand? Hollywood is not looking for you. Not. And if you make $5,000 doing this photo shoot, it's not worth the respect of your children. So I would do a little bit of rethinking along those lines, and that's just gratuitous advice from somebody. Somebody offered me a lot more at my age, and who would want to look at it, I don't know, but the truth of the matter is, at age 38, you're a very attractive woman, but your body is not the same as somebody who's 22. And if somebody's going to pay $1.50 to look in a magazine, they're going to look at somebody who's 22, not somebody who's 38 or slightly older.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I wouldn't have went out and bought that expensive of a car if I wouldn't have thought that she was going to give me the money. I'm not retarded, you know?
Oh.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Hubbard says his mother, Samantha Votava, promised to give him $1,000 so he could purchase a car. Michael says she came up a little short.
Mr. Hubbard, I'm not exactly sure what she said. She probably said to you, I'm going to try to send you $100 a month.
Yeah, she did.
I believe that she said that to you. Okay. I'm going to try to send, put your hand down. I'm going to try to send you $100 a month. I believe she said that. That is not a promise to pay you $100 a month, sir.
She did promise. She even told her. She didn't just tell me, she told my stepmom too. And I wouldn't have went out and bought that expensive of a car if I wouldn't have thought that she was going to give me the money. I'm not retarded, you know?
Oh.
That's a matter of opinion.
I don't believe that she said to you, I am going to give you $100 a month.
She said she did. She did. She did.
Go ahead,
she said,
step up. Last name is?
Hubbard.
All
I'm a stepmother.
You're a stepmother?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The day of the car accident, I called her to let her know that he was in a car accident. And she said, she was hysterical, and she said, I will pay him $1,000. She kept saying over and over, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to send him the money. She said something like $200 a month that she was going to be sending him.
You say 200, he says 100.
No,
she sends a month. She got a little confused.
She told me 200 a month, and then she would call because I speak to her more often than they speak. So she said she started off with a 200 a month, and then 1,000, and then it just all disappeared after she wanted to pursue other things. You want me to sit down?
Your Honor, she did. She gave me that $200. She gave me the $200 as a down payment, and then she gave me $50 and told me, she said, you should probably put it towards your car.
You don't belong here suing your mother, sir.
You don't understand. We talked, and she said, I'm going to give you $1,200.
You don't belong here suing your mother, sir. I'm going to explain a little contract law to you. Ordinarily, there has to be in a contract some consideration. So if somebody says, I'm going to give you $1,000, there has to be a consideration for it in exchange for you doing something, in exchange for you naming the car. What's your first name?
Samantha.
The Samantha. I'm going to give you $1,000.
Okay.
In this instance, there was no consideration. She merely said to you, according to you, I'm going to give you this money.
Right.
A valid contract has not been created unless it was in writing, and this wasn't in writing. Is that right?
Right. It wasn't in writing.
Wasn't.
Okay.
Just, I'm educating you.
Yes,
Let me try to educate you for a moment, because maybe you learned something. In this case, if I believe that she said to you, I am going to give you $1,000, and you acted on that by going out and purchasing a car to your detriment, which means you did something that was putting yourself in a financial bind based upon her promise, that is an exception to the rule so that the courts can enforce that. Do you understand that, Bird?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you could still be held responsible if I believe that. But what I believe is your mom said to you, I'm going to try to give you $50, $100, $200 a month towards the car. And you were hopeful that she was going to do that. And in reliance on that, you went out and bought the car of your dreams, which was what, sir?
95 Nissan 200SX. That's not that expensive of a car. It was used, it was a private owner. So
No, but you could have bought a Saturn.
I could have bought a Saturn.
A 1995 Saturn
Your
for a
Honor.
lot less, right?
Right, but she said that she's going to give me $1,200. Your Honor.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
What?
As a matter of fact, I had a 92 Saturn when he was wanting me to give him, you know, this money.
Now, this gentleman is who?
This is my husband.
Okay, he's dying to say something. Now I'm going to let him speak. Now stand up, sir. Now, how long have you been married?
2 years.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a manufacturing engineer. What I wanted to say was that my stepson, using poor judgment, bought a car. When he bought the car, he didn't put full coverage on it. So when he got in the wreck, my wife was beside herself. She came to me and asked me, can we send him what we can? And I said, yes, we can send him what we can, but no more, because we're on a tight budget. We got 2 more kids. So his poor judgment in not insuring his car to its fullest extent. Now, it was a mistaken judgment, and he totaled the car, and the best thing that came out of it, he was unharmed.
And I also, Your Honor, I had told him in the very beginning to make sure that he had full coverage on the first car, because usually kids wreck their first car.
Your Honor, I couldn't afford full coverage.
That's like we're not going to make a big first wedding. Thank you for your explanation.
Your Honor.
Can I tell you something, please?
Yeah.
Okay, his story is not completely true, because actually, I didn't buy my first car. My dad bought me my first car.
So you should have had insurance on it, is what
I
he's
did have
saying. But
insurance.
it's really not important. The important thing is whether I believe that she made a statement, and that statement was, I am going to give you 50, 100, 200, a specific amount, and in reliance upon that, you went out and purchased this car. I believe that what your mother said to you was, I'm going to help you. I'm going to send you $200 now, give you another $50 for your birthday, and I'm going to try to send you what I can every month.
She told
listen to me. That's what I find. That's my job. My job is to try to figure out what is logical.
Right. I'm just trying to.
Right.
They keep
And
saying that.
it also is very distressing to me that a child knows that. I mean, I don't think your mother probably has a whole bunch of money. Is that right?
Well, she bought 2 brand new cars.
I
They
don't
keep
think
saying
that
they
that.
had, like,
Listen to me, sir.
financial
I work.
problems.
I
They just
work
got
hard.
tattoos. She just got tattoos like the other day. They say they have
Listen
no money.
to me. That's not your business.
It's not my business. But
You're
they keep
19 years
telling me-
old. It's not your business. All that is your business is, and one thing that you said to me that I can relate to is that I think you are angry with your mother because of some career choices that she's making that I certainly hope she rethinks. In any event, your lawsuit's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's embarrassing if your mom's like on page 56 in Playboy.
I should be able to do whatever I want to do.
It really bothers me.
I think it's just going to be something he has to accept, and I hope that he'll still continue to love me.
Machine operator Margaret Jones is suing her deceased son's girlfriend, 27-year-old teacher's aide Melissa Filarecki, for the return of her son's belongings. Melissa is countersuing for harassment.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 181 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Filarecki.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mrs. Jones, the defendant was your son's girlfriend for a
Right.
long time.
Yes.
How long did you live together?
5.5 years. No, not that long.
That's what she says.
I'm sorry.
And your son was in a tragic accident and was killed.
Yes, he
And
was.
what you want from the defendant is property that you say belonged to your son. It was your
Yes,
son's
ma'am.
property.
Yes.
The defendant says that they lived together for a long time. They accumulated property together. She has given you some of his personal property, but the rest she feels is hers. And she is also counterclaiming because she says you've been harassing her, and there is some property that you have that actually belongs to her, right? I assume you would not have brought your counterclaim if the plaintiff had not brought her claim.
Right.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go to you for a minute. When did you and Mrs. Jones's son move in together?
Back in '97.
Okay. Tell me about the accident. Were either of you present when the accident happened?
Right after I was.
What was the date of the accident?
November 16, 2001.
And it was an automobile accident, is that right?
No, ATV, four-wheel terrain vehicle.
Okay. What items of personal property do you want?
He has a ring from Sealy Company, a gold ring that they had given him. Literally what I have right now is I had his work clothes, which were junk.
His work clothes, yes.
They're junk. I mean, they're holes.
Right.
I can do nothing with them.
Go ahead.
Things that I want back are the things that I was part of his life for, that he had bought.
Well, talk to
himself.
me. I so far hear a gold ring. This
Their
is a court.
stereo equipment.
His stereo equipment?
Speakers,
Just a minute,
amplifiers.
Just a stereo? So far that has no sentimental value at all. What's next?
PlayStation, all his games. These were his things that he would have given to his nephews.
How old was your son when he passed away?
He was 26.
When did he buy the stereo?
Just within the last couple of years.
When he was living with the defendant?
Yeah, but everything he bought, I'm willing, if she has receipts, they'll probably fall on the credit cards that I've been paying for the last 3 years.
Why have you been doing that?
Because he was paying for her truck a lot. She kept getting it repossessed, didn't have the money to make her truck payments, so he would make her truck payments, then he wouldn't be able to pay his bills.
So he'd come to you and you'd make gifts to him?
No, not gifts. He had him pay him back.
Did he pay you back?
Not all of it. He died before.
Well, no court is going to go through all those bills and figure out what he paid and what he didn't pay. I mean, these people lived together for, let's say, minimally 5 years. They had a home together. I mean, I can understand as his mother you might want certain sentimental things, but let's proceed with the list that you say. We have a stereo, we have a PlayStation. Go ahead, what else?
VCR, his DVD, his nice clothing that he had that wasn't all tore up. There was a lot of Dale Earnhardt collectibles that I had bought in him.
Yes, race cars. Go ahead.
He collected all things that I had bought in him through the years for Dale Earnhardt.
That you gave him as gifts?
To my son.
That you gave him as gifts?
Yes.
Once you give him things as gifts, they're gifts. What else?
He had car amplifiers, which were at one time in my truck. He had a cash box full of credit cards, which I had to call credit card companies because she kept those.
So you called the credit card companies and canceled them?
Yes.
Go ahead, Miss Jones.
I mean, he had all of his clothing, everything that was important to me, what David was into, and everything that was important to him.
Everything that was important to your son, he shared with the person he lived with, Miss Jones.
Well,
the only thing that you said to me that in any way moves me is a gold ring. A gold ring that may have had some sentimental value for you. A stereo doesn't have sentimental value. Neither does a VCR, a DVD, a car amplifier. Put my glasses on to see what else. A PlayStation. Even small race cars don't have sentimental value for you. I can understand you wanting to have something that belongs to your son that you can keep, that you can hold, that you can put in a box.
Well,
the only thing that would be is a ring. The rest of the stuff only has monetary value.
When this first happened, when David first passed away, Melissa asked me if she could use David's things because I had went down and got from circuit court, so I was taking care of his estate.
Let me see what you have from surrogate's court.
And she asked me, could she use his things?
Let me just.
Of course, I said yes.
I want to see what it says here.
Okay.
Okay. All this says is you can act as his voluntary administratrix. Was there any insurance or any other settlement as a result of this accident?
Life insurance?
Any insurance? Any insurance? Any lawsuit? Any money?
Life insurance.
Okay. And who was the beneficiary?
I was.
Okay. And how much was the life insurance policy?
$40,000.
Okay, so you got $40,000, so that the sum total of his estate was the $40,000.
Well, there was another insurance that he had through J.C. Penney, accidental death and dismemberment,
yes.
And that was $125,000.
And who got that?
I did.
Okay.
He left everything to me.
Fine, and you got all that already.
Right.
So why are we here? I don't understand why we're here.
Because these were his things. She made an agreement with me. She said, in her exact words, when I move out of this house, I will return everything of David's to you. And I believed her. I took her for her word, which, when she did move out of the house, she did leave the things. The next morning, they were gone.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She said, I want these things, and if I don't get these things today, I will kill your daughter, and she will come home in a body bag.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Margaret Jones is suing her deceased son's girlfriend, Melissa Filarecki, for the return of his belongings. Melissa says Margaret already has everything.
All right, I'll hear you. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I do have the ring for her.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, you may.
You say it was a gold ring?
It's supposed to be.
What does it say on it?
From the Sealy Mattress Company.
What was it for?
He was Employee of the Month many, many times. Many
What
times.
else do you have in the bag?
I have the list of stuff I left in the apartment for Margaret.
Can I see it, please? What else was in the bag?
Oh, just pictures, and I have a pin that he got from Sealy. Yeah, you want the whole thing?
Mm-hmm. did the defendant give you the following? Necklace, charms, class ring, and keychain with baby pictures on it.
Yes, those I got. Those were things I gave my son, yes.
She gave them back to you?
Yes, she did.
A teddy bear with a graduation year on it.
That I don't remember.
Title to a motorcycle, a 1998 four-wheeler Rabbit.
Title's in his name, yes.
She gave it to you?
They were in his name.
Dale Earnhardt collectibles.
No, there's only a few pieces.
But she gave you some?
She gave me some of them.
A home gym?
Yes.
Coffee table he made in high school?
No, I haven't seen that.
Your Honor,
Yes.
it was not left on the back porch. The door was broken off.
Camcorder?
Yes.
All the Christmas decorations?
No.
Model cars?
The only model cars that I know of, and I don't have them, is the cars that I bought for him, but I don't have them now.
Raiders collections?
That's 3/4 away going too. There's only a few pieces left of that.
Car parts, stereo, and speakers?
No.
What'd you do with those?
They left everything on the back porch.
No.
Listen, in the 5 years that you were together, did you exchange gifts?
Yes, we did.
Were you both employed?
Yes, we were.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was a certified nurse's aide, and I also went to school full-time.
When you leased these apartments together, did you purchase things for the apartment together?
Yes, we did.
And you kept a stereo and a VCR and a DVD?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a cash box that you know about?
That's where I got the ring, and I do have the credit cards with me.
Okay, you can give those to her. She's already canceled them. Miss Jones, I'm going to tell you the following, and then I'm going to very quickly address your counterclaim. When somebody dies, an easier emotion to deal with is usually anger.
Yes, ma'am.
You said yes. Do you really understand what I mean? The sadness, is this your daughter?
Yes, it is.
You see, it's much easier to be angry at somebody than to be hurt and feel sad, because you can vent it out. You can get it out. Whereas dealing with the sorrow of somebody's death is much more painful. Whether they had a good relationship or a bad relationship, your son was together with this woman for 4.5 years, and he was a young man. So for the better part of really his adult life, they were together. They were a couple. Whether you thought they were good for each other or bad for each other, it's irrelevant. She was part of his life for a very long time. She tried to do the right thing with you. I mean, if you're talking to me about this ring, you're talking about not a gold ring. I don't even think it's a silver ring. It's a ring that says Celie on it. She's giving it to you. There's a pin there that also was an Employee of the Month pin. She's giving that to you. It's easier to be angry at her than to either accept certain responsibilities that you might feel for his death, maybe his sister, because this accident was with an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle.
Yes.
Were you there?
I was on it. She was involved in it.
I mean, I could tell from looking at her that there's more than just grief there, so many months away from the incident, that there may be a little bit of guilt attached. Right. Maybe. But that's not her fault. That's not her fault. Nothing's going to bring your son back. Certainly a stereo, a VCR, and a DVD are not going to bring your son back.
Nothing can bring my son back. You're right.
Right. Nothing. Not the $125,000 you got from one insurance policy or the $40,000 that you got from the other insurance policy. Not a VCR, a DVD, and his clothing. They're not going to bring him back.
Well,
these are little mementos that she says you can have.
Told me before she didn't have them.
Oh, well, here they are.
Can I speak,
And
Your
I
Honor?
want you to have them. That's all. You can give these back to the plaintiff. Do you want to proceed with this counterclaim that you have for harassment, or you just
Yes.
want to say, listen, let's try to be friends?
No, I do.
I'm listening.
I have the police report. She called and threatened my mom that my mom was going to know.
Is your mother here?
Yes, she is.
Tell me your name.
Linda Villarecki. I'm her mother.
You want to tell me about this phone call that you got from the plaintiff?
Yes, it was a day or two after Melissa moved back home. I had gotten a phone call from Margaret wanting to speak to Melissa, and I wasn't sure who it was, and I asked who she was. She said, Margaret. And I said, Margaret, she's not here. She's working right now. And she said she promised to give me David's PlayStation and surround sound, and she had mentioned things, and I said, Margaret, I would never want to be in your position that you're into. I said, I would never want that. She said, I want these things, and if I don't get these things today, I will kill your daughter, and she will come home in a body bag, and she will know how it feels to lose a child. And I said, Margaret, I would never want to be in your position. And she just went she was out of control, and I just hung up on her.
Anger is a much easier thing to deal with than sorrow, because she's able to lash out at you rather than dealing internally with the sorrow of the event
Right.
and the sorrow of the loss.
But I was worried that she was so upset that she had, it was possible.
And you made a police report?
Yes.
Can I see the police report, please?
And Your Honor, I also missed 2 weekends of work because I also waitress on the weekends.
In Troy.
In Troy. And my boss wrote me a letter.
I don't read letters from bosses. This report is dated in June. Is that right?
Yes.
The police did ask her not to try to stay away from Troy as much as she could for a while until Margaret did calm down.
Did the police come to your house, Mrs. Jones, and speak to you?
No, they did not, Your Honor.
They should have.
I have my police report here where they for larceny, and I never bothered her at her job.
I didn't ask you
call her
about your job.
house.
I'm talking to you about this phone call. I believe her mother that
Well,
you had this conversation with her.
I had a conversation with Melissa when she called me
No,
3 or
with her
4
mother.
times.
I'm talking with her mother.
3 or 4 times she's called me.
Did you understand
Yes,
what I
ma'am,
said?
did.
I'm talking about the conversation with her mother. I absolutely believe her mother when her mother says to me that you said, unless I get these things back, you're going to see your daughter in a body bag, then you'll know how it feels. What kind of thing is that to say? It's only because you're angry.
They were never together that length of time either, because she had left and went with another guy for a while. The first night of his wake, she had another man sleeping over. And I'd say just about every week after that, there was a different guy in there.
Let me explain something to you. I don't believe that.
That's the honest to God truth.
I don't believe that. Just as I don't believe that you took $165,000 that you got when your son died, right, and went and blew it in Las Vegas.
What?
I wouldn't believe that, because you don't look like that kind of person. You look like a reasonable kind of person. And I'm looking at her, and I don't believe that she brought another guy to his, she may have brought another person who was a male to his wake. Listen,
excuse me,
let's
maybe
not. You have an anger, and I'm trying very hard to be nice to you.
I know you are.
I am really trying very hard to be nice to you. Your daughter was involved, at least in this incident.
Yes, she was.
You and your brother, how far apart in age are you?
I'm his twin.
So it was very difficult for you.
She has
It is
nothing
very.
against-
It was very difficult for you. And you actually saw the accident.
He was helping me.
He was helping you when it happened. So you have a certain guilt, right? A certain guilt. I understand that. Don't be mad at her. There's no reason to be
not
mad
mad
at
at
her.
her.
For over a TV, over a VCR, over a stereo. Listen, your son moved out of the house when he was how old?
19.
That's very young to move out of the house. There has to be a reason for that.
He lived right downstairs from me.
I don't care
with
whether we
his
live right
girlfriend.
downstairs.
With
There's
his-
a reason a child moves out of the house when they're 18 years old, unless they go away to school.
No, he moved down
These
with
days,
his girlfriend.
now you can't get rid of them until they're 35.
Well, actually, Judge, he swore he'd never leave again, and he's always stayed by me. And she can even tell you I came first in his life. Always.
Well, I want to tell you something. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for a 26-year-old man to have to say, my mother comes first in my life and she always will.
Because I always helped him when he needed help. I always tried to guide him to do the right
That's
thing.
what you're supposed to do. So you're not supposed to tarnish his death with this kind of stupidity lawsuit. It's stupid.
That's right.
A
I didn't do
VCR, a television set should not bring you to court. You should say whether they were together a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. There were certain periods of time when they brought each other pleasure, when they cared for each other. She knows how much he cared for you. She knows how much he cared for you. You're supposed to just be a nice lady. So you got the sentimental things back that I think that she was nice to give back to you, that you have. They're yours. I want you to forget about a VCR. I want you to forget about a PlayStation. And I want you to forget about your counterclaim. She's not thinking rationally. Do you understand? You understand? It's going to take some time, because the truth of the matter is, whether you have found another person or not, I certainly hope you have, because you're supposed to move on. You're a young woman. She will never get over the death of her child. You don't get over the death of a child. You sometimes get over the death of a partner, a mate, a boyfriend, because you move on with your life and you find someone else to fill that void. She's never going to fill that void, but you have to fill that void with something other than anger, because it's not healthy.
I know.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy. Make up. Be nice with each other. Your cases are dismissed. That's all. That is why you got your car back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Rest of your claim is dismissed. That's all.
Your Honor, this is case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Murphy versus Hart.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Murphy, the defendant is your former son-in-law.
Yes, he is.
When did you make the first loan to your son-in-law?
In the early part of 1997. It was a personal loan. It was for $2,700.
For what?
He expressed that he was having some financial difficulties, housing and supporting my grandson. He repaid me $1,000 of that because he got his income tax return.
Okay. What else?
In 1998, my girlfriend went to an auction. Richard needed a sofa. The sofa was $242. I advanced him a personal loan of $300.
For what?
I don't know. He just asked me to lend him the money. We went to Vegas, and I lent him $100.
For what?
To gamble with.
How come you kept lending him this money? He wasn't paying you back regularly, so why would you lend him money to gamble?
Because he looked so dejected when we were in Vegas, so I just felt sorry for him.
Well, you felt sorry for him. Did you give him the $100, or did he say to you, could I please have $100 and I'll pay you back?
I offered to lend. I asked him, did he want a loan? And I said, you would have to pay it back. And he said yes.
No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Go ahead. What's next?
Then this time I had put him on a payment plan of $100. He made payments from August to December in $100 increments that came to $500. In April, he came in my house. He gave me $150 and told me that he had other kids and that he had quit his 2 jobs because he was being sued for child support and that he could no longer pay me.
Richard.
Yes, ma'am.
Got a couple of questions to ask you, sir.
Okay.
It appears from your answer that there was a period of time when you had full custody of your son.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
From 97 to 99 of September.
1997 to September of 99.
Yes, ma'am. And I can recall the date in January of 97 due to the fact that she called me at work saying that if you feel if I'm a better parent, we'll pick my son up. So
the court papers can be subpoenaed that says that Richard has custody of Ryan from Thursday to Sunday, and my daughter had him the rest of the time.
You have those papers?
According to Marianne, she knows definitely for a fact that I had my son from 97 to 99.
Put your hand down.
I also know that he was
Put your hand down. When I need you, I'll call you.
It's like this. When her daughter found a boyfriend, she wasn't going to be my son's mother anymore. She knows that for a fact.
I think that that's probably true. I think that Miss Murphy knew that there was a period of time when your son really needed you to be either a full-time custodian or there a good deal of the time. Isn't that right, Miss Murphy?
He was a very good father, and I give him, my hat goes off to him.
Right. Now, what I assume happened at some point, you met your new wife. Are you married now?
No,
fiancé. You have a girl. You have a fiance.
Yes, ma'am.
With whom you have children.
Yes, I have 2 boys, yes.
With your fiance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're not quite ready to make a commitment to get married? Is
Right
that the
now,
idea? Just the children are okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have a fiance and you have 2 little children and things get kind of busy. Your son is with his mother more often than he's with you. She's taking you now to court for child support. You haven't paid child support in a while.
I'm not working at all, so therefore certain people have told me that I don't have to pay child support if I don't have it. I'm only collecting disability.
What is the nature of your disability?
Right now,
you can't even say it with a straight face. Try saying it with a straight face, how you're disabled. Try telling me how somebody who's how tall? 6 foot tall?
6 foot tall.
Standing in front of me.
Ma'am.
What?
I'm a donor patient for my brother who has a kidney disease, so I have high blood pressure. So right now, I'm basically just relaxing, trying to keep my blood pressure down.
Everybody who has high blood pressure stops working. Half the country would be unemployed.
But I can't give a kidney if I have high blood pressure.
How long have you been preparing yourself to be a donor?
I've been preparing myself for the past month and a half.
And how long have you been unemployed?
Since April. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to say after June.
Were you paying any child support before
June?
The
last time I made child support payment was $300, $360 for whatever reason they needed.
When?
June of 2000.
Somebody's got such high blood pressure shouldn't strain themselves and have all these children.
Oh, it ain't about the children, ma'am. It's about the people around me.
Children create. Listen to me. No.
I'll be all
Mr.
right.
Hart, making babies makes your heart go faster, right?
Yeah.
It does.
Maybe you should stop straining yourself. Mr. Hart, look, you were making payments to Miss Murphy over a long period of time.
I was helping her out due to the fact she helped me out.
Just a second, sir. You were making payments to her in the amount of $100 a month.
No.
You're in between a rock and a hard place, sir. If you say you weren't making payments to her, you're not going to get credit for any of those payments.
Well, I would say it wasn't a month. I was giving her whatever I had due to the fact she helped me out when I had my son.
You mean she's lying about that?
Oh, it's a lot of things she was lying about.
Yes, I'll hear you.
I have no reason to stand up here and lie. I have a detailed journal of everything, all the accounting on this.
Let me see. Let me take a look at it.
I extracted this information from the tape. But more importantly, my daughter owes me money, and I have the same tape on her.
Your Honor, she failed to realize until with the $2,700 she gave me for the circumstances why the $2,700 was given.
Tell me about it.
I didn't ask for the $2,700. I picked my son up from school one day, and he had a lot of bruises on his buttocks and his legs. And I didn't know what to do. So therefore, I took him over to Miss Murphy, and she told me, well, this is what you need to do.
Would you please just explain to me what the $2,700
It was for the attorney fees.
Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. He has conjured up lies and had other people call my daughter's house, leaving threatening messages, and have alluded to me giving him money. When I lent him the money, I had no idea what it was for. I didn't ask. My concern is that you pay it back to me.
Your Honor, why was the attorney fees $2,700? Why did she exactly give me $2,700?
Let me see the bill for $2,700 from the attorney.
I don't have everything, but this is...
I just tell you, I don't need everything. The base, most of this money that she claims that you owe is, according to you, the attorney's fees.
Yes, ma'am.
This says balance as of 10/13, $1,034.
Let me find this other letter, ma'am, so I can show you that they gave me actually back. After the case is over, they gave me $700 back, but I don't have that form with me at this time.
I want to see where the original bill was for $2,700, the retainer.
No, they asked for a retaining fee of $2,700.
Show me.
Okay, ma'am, okay, relax. I don't have that at this time, Your Honor. I had a letter showing that this is what they gave me back. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry.
At the time that this happened back in 1997, you saw bruises on the child's body. I
Yes, ma'am.
assume that you were infuriated. Is that right?
I made a police report. A DCFS came out of the house, did an investigation on me. They also did investigation on the school.
Just answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
You needed money for an attorney. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't have the money right then and there to
I
give
didn't
to
have
the
all
lawyer.
of it, no, ma'am.
Good. And there is nothing that you can show me where you paid this lawyer a retainer of $2,700.
Not at this time. You can see
Right,
that
because
list
all
right
this
there.
other stuff you gave me says nothing about $2,700.
Well, if I had it, I would sure give it to you.
Because what it shows is that there are different amounts that you've paid off different amounts at different times, not $2,700 at one fell swoop.
Well, actually, it should. I wish I had.
Actually.
I don't have that. No.
Of course you don't have it because, sir, let me explain something
Because I
to you.
wasn't prepared to bring that information in court, sir. But
Well,
if we...
Mr. Hart, I don't know why you weren't prepared to do that, sir, because that is your answer, that you used this $2,700 for an attorney. So it would seem to me, with all the other paperwork that you brought, you would have brought that one document showing you took the $2,700 from the plaintiff and you paid the attorney with it. That's the one document that I would have.
Yeah, that's one document I wish I had.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,538. And let me tell you what I'm taking off.
Okay.
Taking off the $100 you were foolish enough to give him to gamble.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
You may step out.
Stabbed me in the back like she stabbed her daughter in the
And
back.
it wasn't even about the money that he didn't owe her any money. It was about me having harassment suit from her daughter and her so that he would not be able to see his son.
Justice prevailed. It just isn't paid a lot.
And now...
We understand each other. Your counterclaims dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's...
Yeah, this is case number 109 on the calendar in the matter of Murray versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Miss Mary, according to your complaint, you loaned the defendant $3,500. You knew him from a previous relationship. You want to tell me when you loaned him the money, what was it for, and where did you get it from?
I loaned him the money in the middle of February. We had known each other about a year and a half prior to. We had been dating. It didn't work out. He couldn't commit. We reconciled at the beginning of the year. He came to me crying about the middle of February, indicating that his life was in danger, that if he didn't have this money, he would be hurt. I trusted him. At that point, he said that he wanted to make this relationship work. I took him for his word. He swindled me.
Where did you get the money from?
It was a tax debt that I owe. I took a loan out on my house.
I just said it was a tax debt. What kind of tax debt?
I owe the IRS money from cashing stock in. I took a mortgage out on my house.
Do you have proof of that?
Yes. He knew I was getting a loan for this money. He came to me right about the time it was about to fund.
Let me see.
Your Honor, that's false. I didn't know anything about the loan until after the fact.
He had made an agreement with me, an oral agreement, that he would pay this back before the 15th.
Just a second. Okay, and what date did he come to you in February?
On the 20th.
And what did he tell you that the money was needed for?
I have no idea. He said that his life was in danger. I took
didn't
him at
ask
his
him?
word. I just saw that he was scared.
And you gave him the money in cash?
Yes. He indicated that was the nature of it.
Your Honor, I do have a bank account. I'm able to cash checks.
Just a second. How much was the amount of your tax bill?
$70,000.
Okay. Go.
Your Honor, this first thing I'd like to present this letter, actually, that I have. It shows
A letter from what?
It's a letter, actually, from the plaintiff. It shows a little bit of what her word is. And
Your Honor, I have never mailed him any letters.
Just a minute.
It obviously has her. That's the original there, Your Honor, with her signature at the bottom.
I can't read and listen to you at the same time. Okay, just show this to her. That really has nothing to do with this case.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, that goes to show that her word really means nothing, to tell you the truth, Your Honor. This was not a loan.
Well, tell me what it was, sir. I read
for
your
her.
answer. Tell me what it was.
I had done work for her in the middle of last year. My brother as well was working with me at the time. He was my employee. And we had spoken with her, him and I, at the same time, were present, to do anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 worth of work on her home.
That's a lie.
Skylights, countertop, tile, replace a double door in the front entry.
Okay, so you had started to do some work on her house.
That's correct.
When did you start to do the work on her house?
I believe it was July 24th or 25th. We worked there
Of
for 3 days.
2000?
Yes.
And how many days did you work there?
We worked there for 3 days, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
On the third day, we had the job almost completely done, the portion that we were doing, and she said, I'll finish it myself. Had never given us any money for materials besides a $500 check. She had not paid us for our labor,
Just a
which I
second.
had to pay my employee.
She gave you $500.
A check, that's correct. And that
Well,
was
the
in
check you
July of
cashed.
2000.
I'm speaking. She gave you a check for $500, and according to you, you worked there 3 days.
That's correct.
Do you have a contract with her?
We had a verbal agreement.
Did you have a contract with her?
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay. Because no contractor starts a job that says it's between $8,000 and $10,000. When you
She
do
had a list.
I'm speaking. When you do a contract, you say this item is going to cost this and that item is going to cost that. You don't believe that the work that you did in 3 days was $4,000.
No, it was not, but subsequent to me accepting this job, I turned down numerous other jobs because I was going to be at this job for anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks.
You have proof of that?
Not on hand, Your Honor.
Well, that's your defense. That's your defense to this action. So you should have proof. Now you're telling me she just came home one day and said, I don't want you to work on this project anymore.
That's correct, actually, Your Honor. A few days before that, she had told me that she loved me and wanted to be with me. We went to her house that evening. My brother and I spoke with her on doing this work. She had a large list, pulling out bushes, skylights, numerous work around her house that she had just purchased. We told her, well, okay, we can start in a couple of days. We came by on the Monday of the first part of the week. When we showed up, we asked her to open the garage door so we could unload
So you
materials.
didn't have another job right then?
No. I told her I could be there on Monday.
Just a second. So you were free immediately?
No, I
My
told her I could
statement
help
was
her
you
out.
were free immediately. She spoke to you the week before. You were able to start that Monday. So you were free. You didn't have any other commitments.
At present, I did not at hand. She had asked me first. I had other jobs that I went to. That's the main reason why.
No. My question was, and your response is, you had no other commitments that prevented you from starting her job immediately.
No, I did not.
Okay.
My father had just passed away, so therefore I was still grieving from his death. I had been taking care of him for the first part of that year as well.
Mr. Johnson, pay attention to me. This is about money. This is not about
I
your
have a bill
father's
here as well
unfortunate
that I normally
demise.
write up for customers
Okay?
that I work
Now,
for.
don't you understand when my mouth is moving? There's only one voice that I hear.
To apologize, Your Honor.
Good. Now, if you felt that she owed you money in July of 2000, why didn't you sue her?
I had spoken to my attorney on putting a lien on her house, and work picked up at that time, so I just filed the bill away that I had written up for the initial work that we had started.
Then I'd like to see the bill that you say you filled out then in July of 2000.
That's correct, Your Honor.
For the work that you started.
I do believe there's a legal term for this called a quantum merit, Your Honor.
You didn't do $4,000 worth of work in 3 days. I know what the legal terms are. Quantum merit means that you are paid for the work that you do.
That's correct.
This is not the work that you did in 2.5 days.
She gave me a check for $500, that is it.
Pay attention. This is not the work that you did in 2.5 days. That's not what your answer is. Your answer is that you gave up other jobs because you had a job that you thought was going to last several weeks. That's your
correct.
defense.
That's correct.
So what are you showing me this bill for $4,000?
That's the work that we started doing. Halfway through that, she decided to tell us, and I'll finish the job myself, because the first day we arrived on the job, she had a new boyfriend there.
Your Honor, the reason that I... Did you remove the countertop?
That's correct.
Did you install a new countertop?
That's correct.
One out of 3.
What do you mean 1 out of 3?
There are 3 countertops. He installed one, gouged the second one, and left the other one standing
That's
in my
false,
garage.
Your
Just a
Honor.
second. Is it there?
I paid somebody else to correct the job.
That's false, Your Honor. There was one section left not put in, Your Honor, and that was the sink side, and that was the day that she asked us to leave. She would finish the job herself.
I fired him because he verbally assaulted me.
What did he say?
That is
He
false,
quoted
Your
me
Honor.
that the job would take 3 days, cost about $800. We're talking tile on the floor, kitchen countertops, and a kitchen sink.
The initial job that we had quoted was just the surface.
On the third day,
Not to
my
the
stove
countertop.
was still not put in its place. The countertops were, my kitchen was not functionable. He kept verbally assaulting me, making rude
that's
comments
false
to
again,
me.
Your Honor.
Please
I don't want to hear
interrupt
any
me.
interruptions.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Please don't interrupt.
That's a lie. That's a
It is
pure
not
lie.
a lie.
Out. Him. Out. And the next time somebody speaks, I'm going to resolve this case. It's not going to be to their satisfaction.
She's a liar. That's a lie.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There is not to be any discussion between the two of you, and you are to respond to my questions. That's the way I run a courtroom. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janelle Murray says ex-boyfriend Rule Johnson owes for an unpaid loan.
Okay. You fired them.
Yes.
Did he leave a sink there?
No. I bought my own sink.
Okay.
That's false as well, Your Honor.
Show me the bill.
I don't have the receipts. I had given them to her at the time.
You're a contractor. Contractors have bills. Can I see
Checks.
it? Did you buy a sink set, faucet, and plumbing?
I did not. That was to install her old faucet and plumbing with
You
the
didn't
new
do that.
sink.
Just a second. You didn't do that.
No. That was when she called us.
Just answer my question. You didn't do that.
No.
And you didn't buy the sink.
Yes, I did, Your Honor. That's false.
And yet you have no proof that you bought a sink, right?
I've got my witness, which you asked to leave the courtroom.
Yeah, because he has a big mouth. He doesn't know where he is, and he's not coming back.
Well, when a plaintiff lies, I mean, it's only fair to stand up and say when somebody's a liar.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. That's how I resolve the case when you have a big mouth.
Fine.
Thank
Have a nice day, Your Honor.
You may step out.
She couldn't accept the fact that she couldn't have me.
He's obviously very full of himself.
She's been obsessive after my brother. She's stalked him.
Ladies, fair warning.
She's a crazy lady.
Pretty faces and money don't mix.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম এভরিওয়ান, কেমন আছেন সবাই? আশা রাখছি সবাই বেশ ভালো আছেন। সো আজকে আমি চলে আসছি আমার ফ্রেন্ডের রেস্টুরেন্টে। তো এখানে আসার পরে দেখতে পাচ্ছেন যে কি একটা ভিউ, আর আমার সাথে আছে অন্তর। আমরা আসছি এখন উইংস খেতে। উইংস হচ্ছে মুরগির যে কি জানো বন্ধু, ডানা, ওইটা দিয়ে উইংস বানায়। আর হচ্ছে লেগ থাকে, মানে লেগ পিস থাকে, দেখছি পিস। সো আমরা এখন খাবো, আপনারা সবাই দেখবেন। আর আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি এই রেস্টুরেন্টটা সব থেকে ভালো লাগে যে এইগুলোর পেন্টিং, মাশাআল্লাহ অনেক সুন্দর পেন্টিং। আর আজকে মেনু কার্ড হিসেবে এখানে কিন্তু দেখতে পাচ্ছেন চিল অ্যান্ড অফেল। আমরা কোনটা খাবো জানেন? আমরা খাবো উইংস। উইংসটা এখানে দেখি না, মিট বক্স উইংসটা কই, এই যে ফ্রেঞ্চ ফ্রাই, নাগা উইংস 180, 200 বারবিকিউ উইংস 220 ও মাই গড এটা তো বেশি কেন এই যে আমরা খাবো এটা সো এই হচ্ছে কাহিনী আর হচ্ছে সবথেকে মজার বিষয়টা যদি আমি আপনাকে দেখাই তাহলে দেখতে পাবেন যেখানে টিস্যু বক্স এই টিস্যু দিয়া আমরা যদি ঘাম মুছি হাসি পাচ্ছে তো এই যে আমার বন্ধু হাসতাছে